This is an implementation to put nanochips in us. You had other groups who were saying that people are going to fall down and they're going to die from it. You had people saying that this is a global agenda. You had very, very different, broad groups of people around the world who were not taking the vaccine for a lot of reasons that had nothing to do with the vaccine itself. So engage with it. This is your last chance, because I'm not giving you another chance.
Look, if the proposed solution causes
Mate.
I swear to God, if I fucking hear the word inflation, I swear to fucking God. Even I, who had no reason whatsoever except for the fact that I was traveling, had to get vaccinated, and it ended up being unnecessary in the airport. All they needed was a fucking COVID test.
Take one though. To the pandemic. Why wouldn't you take that?
I mean, that's I don't... Oh, he took the thing off again. And he left. I mean, COVID kind of fucked us, but...
I didn't really notice it that much, man, because we just did anyway. You know Nijmegen, right?
Yeah.
I live a little bit underneath Nijmegen, so in Malden, it's called. It's a little bit close to Kuik, maybe you know Heumen. Like a little bit downwards towards Nijmegen. So it's a village, so we could basically do whatever we wanted. We didn't really notice it at all. We just can't go out to the city and party and stuff. That was a little bit fucked, but yeah, we just did it at home. I didn't really notice it. I'm happy I didn't really notice it that much, man. Was it so bad for you?
I mean, I was still just in school. I didn't even have like a fucking job when COVID, like the actual lockdown and shit was, so I didn't give a fuck. But I know that a lot of people, especially who own like a business, had like a lot of shit with it, where the revenue basically got cut off completely because there's no customers.
And like no financial support, right? Like almost close to nothing, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, most of them just had to close, and the few ones that survived, like, had a lot of trouble restarting, I guess. Like debt as well, debt.
Because the bills are just gonna keep piling up, like electricity. You're paying everything. We're not making anything, and it's so bad. Okay, that's I didn't even think about that for too much. I guess I knew it was bad, but now I'm thinking about it. That must really suck if you have a business, man.
They should have made it that you don't have to pay taxes while COVID is active.
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah,
how
for
long the
real.
politicians then would have the incentive to keep COVID lockdowns up.
Yeah, I feel like they acted very badly in our country on COVID as well.
Same.
Like this was
it
probably
wasn't even that like dramatic, I guess. Like, I got COVID multiple times, and I literally questioned if I was even sick. But the
yes,
test
bro.
is...
I had it,
Get vaccinated.
and I just didn't taste anything. That's all. I just couldn't taste my food, and that was pretty much
I mean,
it.
I got the vaccine eventually, but I got COVID
I
before the
didn't.
vaccine, and I didn't feel
Okay.
shit. So
Oh yeah, then you had like
really
a
not
paper,
that.
right? Which when you
How
had
did you know
COVID,
that
you
you
had
had
like
COVID?
We
you had
had
like a
these
paper.
self-tests, right? That you'd stuff up your nose and shit.
Yes. Oh, that shit made me sneeze, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But like when you, at least I had it. I had COVID, and I had like this formula, this paper that I was allowed to go everywhere because I'm immune right now because I already got it, you know. So that was nice because I really didn't want to get my vaccine, not because I was scared that I was gonna get poisoned, but purely the fact for me that they're cornering me and forcing me to take something to be able to go to public places again just doesn't go right in my head. So that's
Yeah,
why I'm
that
just a little bit stubborn,
I
and I
agree. Yeah.
just resist because I don't like being pushed into a corner. So I
Yeah,
just resisted
don't
and
tell
just
this
waited
to
it out.
boss.
I just waited it out. And I'm
Don't
happy I
tell
didn't
this
take
to
it as
boss.
well. I'm happy I didn't take a vaccine.
Yeah, I didn't experience anything during COVID. I was locked
Hey,
in
boss,
I was
do you
locked in my
agree with
room
him?
for 2 years.
He's anti-vax. What do you think about this?
No, I wasn't anti-vax. The vaccination was fine, but it was just more like a principle thing of me because I'm so fucking stubborn.
Yeah.
And people who actually believe
I'm
there
the
was like
same way.
poison and shit in there was crazy. There's nothing in there. They were trying to help us, but I don't like getting cornered like this and forced to do something I don't really feel the need to. So I just didn't because that's just the way my brain works. And it's
Yeah.
Can you understand? Can you understand the logic? Like, if you had to try and understand the government's position of why they would try and well, you want to use the word enforce. I'm not entirely going to disagree with you because it's like it is putting you into a corner and making you do something that whether you don't have the freedom to choose, basically. So how do you feel about that? Is there any reasonable thing that would make governments around the world choose to do that, do you think? Considering that this is a global pandemic.
I mean, do
Yeah,
you really
that's-
think it
I'm
was this,
I'm
like,
asking
global
Elias.
fucking
Yeah, I'm asking
world
Elias. I know
problem?
what your
Right.
opinion is.
Okay, okay, I have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah,
I
you
think-
do.
okay,
I
how
like
I feel
that
about it?
response. I love that response. I love that response. Good for you. Yes, it is. You should have to think about it. It's not a
Yes.
yes or no answer. Very simple,
No,
obvious.
you have
Yes.
to think it through a little bit. You have to
Yes,
look
I
at
agree.
the
I agree.
wrong and at the good, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think
Teach
their
me how I
intentions
can
were
think
not
through
bad.
things.
I think the intentions with what they were trying to do was not bad at all.
Phew.
But it's like to me, it seemed like it was a little bit fucking panicky, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was just
massively
complete panic. Like
Yeah.
chill out for a second.
But
Just
I
look
like
at
what you
just
said.
just
Yeah.
chill. Just chill for a second.
But I
Chill
like what
out.
you
See
said,
how this
which
goes.
is
If it goes south, then you act. But don't do it the other way around because now, yeah, it was a total mess. It was just a
yes, it
complete
was.
disaster.
Yes, it was. But nonetheless, I agree with your statement, which is I don't inherently believe that the people who enforced those measures had the bad interest of people at hand, which is a lot of people's standing point, which is like this idea that it was intentionally done that
That's
way.
not true. But that doesn't say it's not. It doesn't say it's acceptable because it's still fucking bad and it's
Yeah,
still
you can
horrible.
say logistically speaking, the way they chose to go about it
Yeah,
wasn't
no matter,
the
no
best
matter
way.
what
Yeah.
how they felt about it, the outcome was very bad, and it was almost like they were trying to fuck it up.
Then your
Like,
next question should be:
That was
do we have anything else to point to in the world that could potentially be a situation like that where governments made better decisions? Or is it even possible for governments to make better decisions when it's a global pandemic?
I don't really think so because the people make it very hard for the governments to
And
make
I agree.
right
Yes.
decisions because it's like at a political standpoint you can't really do it right. You can never do it right, you know, because
Based.
some people may agree with it, but there's like 1,000 people who disagree with it, and when you change it to favor them, the other fucking half goes crazy, and it's just
There you
one
go.
big. You know what I'm trying to say?
There
It might
are
sound
limits.
stupid.
Yes.
In my own language, I could say
No,
very formal words, but my English is just bad. You
You
know?
are so based. Yes, I agree 100%. So yeah.
Hey, boss,
Yeah,
what do you
that's what
think
I
my opinion
yeah.
on this is? Because I think you
Go ahead.
I don't know what your opinion is because we haven't talked, me and you personally, about COVID, but I've talked with Easy Game, and this was a main point of contention that we
I
had.
mean, I'm not easy game. You know this, right?
Yeah, I know you're not Easy Game. I know you're perfectly capable of forming your own opinions, but yeah. So
Well,
what is
my
your
opinion basically is if there would be like this massive global pandemic where people are dropping fucking dead on the ground like
which
every
there
second.
was, yes. Well,
No, there. Okay,
That
we'll
was
talk about that
okay.
after it. Then I would agree with mandatory vaccinations,
Mhm.
but really, it was massively fucking exaggerated. It was
That was
not as bad
competition as well.
as this fucking news told this was basically.
And I also
Like
added
there weren't
okay,
people
well,
on the
I
ground
disagree with
dropping
that.
dead from COVID.
I disagree with that. The spread of the coronavirus was very extreme, and it just sent the whole fucking world into shock.
I
So,
mean, if
yes.
you look at the actual rates of how many people died and got COVID, only like this small bit of the people got COVID, and an even smaller, insignificant bit of like elderly people and fucking unhealthy fat ass people died from it.
Okay, but you do
Most people had
realize
no trouble with
you
it.
do realize that the only reason those numbers are the way they are is because the governments enforced the things that they did at the time that they did. Okay, so you're looking at data and you're looking at
don't
the
know that.
well, we do because that's what
No,
the governments
even
did.
before the vaccine was there,
When
there
are you
wasn't, like,
looking at
massive
January
numbers of people
times,
dying.
November times, and that's what you're choosing to look at instead of what happened for an entire year afterwards?
Yeah, but consider the following.
You should look at the time before the vaccine.
So you're saying November, December. I'm clearly stating that because that's when it began in China, in Wuhan, China.
Look
And
at
then it
this way.
spread after fucking Chinese New Year.
This is how I looked at it. I was like, okay, we have all these old people, sick people, right? That can live because there's no new virus that could kill them. Then a new virus shows up. Of course, these people that are extremely vulnerable, who are already all alive but about to die, are all going to suddenly die. because there's like a new threat on the world, right? So in the beginning, the numbers of death would be higher. Then the next year, the people who were maybe they already got the illness and they got some immunity, or the other way, the people who didn't get any immunity are already dead. So obviously, even if you don't vaccinate the people, the numbers the next year are gonna be lower. That was my logic.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But, okay, I have a
Yeah,
pretty
I
messed
just
up.
I just
I'm-
disagree.
I
I
think
just
I'm
disagree.
aware.
I mean, do you think the
I think that's a
death rates
stupid
were
fucking
do you think
conclusion to
the
come
rates
to.
of
Okay, it
them
can get
dying
even
were
worse.
that
I
high
have
because
a
like
take
it
on this.
spread
This is
fast, or do
crazy.
you think it's because like all of those people getting the disease all died en masse?
Okay.
Like it's because it quickly reaches those vulnerable people, right? Or what?
Okay, I love to engage with this topic because it's very specific and it's very coincidental that people want to look at the deaths and the amount of deaths and point to it and say, hey, it's not that bad because not a lot of people were dying. But the only real data we have is two scenarios. One, prior to the spread of the virus, okay, which lasted from November till January. In February and March, the groups of the world, the United Nations, everybody, the big powers of the world had already grouped and already decided that there would be a major lockdown throughout the world. And by March, it was implemented and this was named a global pandemic. So you can either look at the data from November until maybe even March if you want to go that way, even though lockdowns had been implemented from like February. But nobody wants to look at that period. Everybody always wants to look at the period after March and say from there on and say, look, there's not a lot of deaths, guys. So obviously it's not that deadly. But the idea is the only reason why there wasn't more deaths was because of the implementations made.
Yes, but
My
you.
man,
Okay.
I
I'm gonna jump in here.
myself
I'm
got
gonna jump
COVID
in here.
before the
Please
vaccine,
let me jump
so,
in
and I
now.
didn't
Please,
fucking
please.
drop that.
Okay, what I'm okay. I have a little bit of a hot take right here, but I mean it. It might sound a little bit crazy, but I think this is the best way to deal with this type of shit. It's
And
black
I
and white,
totally fucking agree with
it's
you.
logical.
I
It's
totally.
logical. You don't even know what I'm gonna say, bruh.
Oh, I thought
This
you
is
were
a-
saying
this is
with
a hot
what I
take.
was saying. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Okay. This is a little bit different, I guess. Okay, so okay, let's say the fucking plague breaks out again. Or no, okay, it's just COVID is new. We never heard about COVID. It did happen again. And okay, the government is responsible for their civilians' lives to a certain extent. But if they don't want to participate in you caring for them, then who are you to force them into taking care of them? You know what I'm trying to say? So what I would do is like, okay, we have vaccines. We are very adapted to this. We know the cure. People who want to get vaccines and get over it can take the vaccine right now. And the people who don't want to do it, just go outside and get sick. And the people who are too scared of like going outside because they think they're gonna just isolate yourself. So like it's like at that point, if there's like so much discord and disagreements around the world, I don't think the government is responsible for what people do. So like if you want to go outside, just go outside, but you know you're gonna get sick or you might
This
get
was my
sick.
position as well.
You
Yeah.
know?
I
And
mean, the
So
what
difference
I
with
think
the
about
I
it is like,
disagree.
right,
yeah,
I
you know what
the
I'm
disagree.
saying?
difference
Yeah,
with the plague and this is
it's
that the
black and white,
plague
but I
was
think
so
like
deadly
it,
that
it
it's like a
solves itself
guaranteed
that
death.
way.
No,
You know?
it
Like,
doesn't.
it
That's
solves
the
itself.
problem. It doesn't solve itself. And the reason it doesn't solve itself is because the idea of why people weren't getting vaccinated, even though there was medical indications that this thing, while it might not make you immune, will make you stronger and will not allow, it's not like it'll stop you from getting the disease again, but it will make you stronger and you'll be able to deal with the disease a lot better. But instead of people paying attention to those facts, there were groups of people who just were against it because of conspiracy theories, like this is an implementation to put nanochips in us. You had other groups who were saying that people are going to fall down and they're going to die from it. You had people saying that this is a global agenda. You had very, very different, broad groups of people around the world who were not taking the vaccine for a lot of reasons that had nothing to do with the vaccine itself. And so that's the problem. The idea of why governments had to implement it is because you have these irrational people deciding not to take vaccines on the premise that this is some kind of global agenda, not on the fact that the vaccine itself is a bad thing, looking at the actual chemicals that are consisted in the vaccine or whatever. And so the idea is you have a group of people, a lot of people who want to survive, and they're all for the vaccines, and so they're taking the vaccines, even again, because the vaccines are not necessarily a bad thing. While they not be the best thing, they are a way to combat this global pandemic. And then you have these other broad groups of people who are not taking it, not because it's a bad thing, but because they don't agree with, this global agenda or whatever. So they are irrational. These people are rational, so they're taking the vaccines. But if these people don't take the vaccines, then they are affecting these people.
Yeah,
so,
and that's exactly,
and that's why they did what they did.
Why you have to? I think that's exactly why
And
you
that's
don't
yes,
do what they did, because
wait,
like I think it wasn't a great example of how stupid people can be. Like they think like they would have got poisoned, chips were in there, like, you know what
so you're basically saying
I'm saying because of the people are crazy, it can turn fucking dangerous. If people really believe they're getting chips implemented in them, they're going to go to a very extreme lengths to not take it.
Okay.
So what I suggest then it's fucked for the rest, because those people just fuck it up for the rest. But it just has to be that way then. So people who want to get fixed and want to participate in getting better, take the vaccine, wait it out till it's kicked in. Just sit it out because of the other stupid people who fucked it up for you. Okay, you just sit on that. Let the other people get sick and die, and eventually just get group immunity. I think that's just more reason to be responsible of themselves.
You understand the count.
I think that even it's more important because they were saying like
Okay.
chips.
So basically, you're saying
makes it more.
Yeah, basically you're
it
saying
makes it more necessary to like do it. I'm sorry, you go.
Yeah, basically you're saying that there's this group of rational human beings who are looking at the vaccines for what they are, not any global conspiracy or any fantasized story about it, and they're saying we want the vaccine to stay, not immune to it, but we just want to increase our chances of not getting it again, or being able to resist it when we do get it. Okay, and then you have these other groups who are irrational and they don't want to take the vaccine, not because of the vaccine itself. So their reasoning for why they're not taking the vaccine has nothing to do with the vaccine itself. It has to do with their broad ideology of the world and the way the world works, okay? And so you're saying, so you have one thing that's going to happen to these broad groups, which is they die, okay? So governments do have a responsibility for that, whether we like it or not.
They're responsible
they
for it
are, though,
because they destroyed their city. It's like that's probably my bad, or I don't know.
But you understand,
like, those people, you don't have to feel responsible for those people.
You do though when you're the government. You take an oath to take care of those people. You understand that it is your responsibility. As long as we live in the world with the rules and the laws that we have, as a government, you have a responsibility to make sure your population doesn't die out, whether we like it or not. That doesn't seem like a logical argument. Second of all, so if that's not going to happen and they're not just going to start falling down like flies. Second of all, okay, you're saying to them, it's okay to be irrational, and that actually we should punish this group of people who are acting rational and say to them, you can't go to work, you can't go anywhere else, get the vaccines, but it's totally useless because you can still not go to work, you can still not go anywhere, you have to isolate yourselves because this group of irrational human beings ultimately gets the end say in this. That doesn't seem reasonable to me whatsoever in any way.
That's a matter of perspective, I guess.
Yeah, so that's my stance.
Really is a matter of perspective.
Let me add something here. When you call these people irrational, the people who didn't vaccinate, I wouldn't call them irrational. I would say that amongst them, some are going to be irrational, but I would say that the majority were all looking out for their best survival. And out of their experience, they determined, look, I know people who, I'm not saying for myself, but from their perspective, that the virus isn't as deadly as the media is telling me. I don't know anybody who, I don't know, vaccinated and is suddenly immune to it or didn't get COVID. This is out of my life. Everybody who did get vaccinated got COVID afterwards, after they got vaccinated. I never got vaccinated, and I was afraid of COVID in like beginning of February because I saw the videos from China. And I think the pandemic, you said it was declared in March. I think it was declared in April because in the beginning, I was telling my mom before the pandemic was declared, when I saw the videos in China, that she should be wearing masks and that she should, when she goes outside, because I was really worried about COVID. And I was so weirded out that me as a layperson, because it's not like I'm searching for pandemics, it just came over my timeline. And how is it that I was worried about it? Because I saw that, because the symptoms in the beginning were described it is spreading. It's very contagious, and you don't know who has it. So potentially everybody is contagious. And there were no lockdowns. And at that time, I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is the World Health Organization declaring lockdowns in pretty much February? They should have declared it before I knew about it, right? Because I'm the layperson. When I find out, it's like weird. But I remember when the media in my country declared that there's a pandemic. It's everybody already knows at that point. So I was so weirded out that it came so late. Anyway, let me go to the previous point of everybody's gonna work for their own survival, and I would say that an individual knows better than the government, generally speaking. So if the individual doesn't see a threat with this virus, that means he probably has a good reason that he's not concerned about it. If he would see, I go with the guy that said before, look, you just let those people that aren't vaccinated go outside and die. That's completely fine because it's gonna do this. Everybody who didn't want to get vaccinated and is gonna see everybody dying, he's gonna be, oh fuck, I should get vaccinated. Now that's assuming that the vaccine helps, which I don't think it does, but that's assuming it would help. They would still get vaccinated, right? Because they would all look out for their own survival. But forcing everybody, like, and this is another thing, the only pathway that was given that you can basically circumvent this pandemic was the vaccine. There was nothing else. There wasn't like, okay, you should exercise or you should eat vitamin D. Nothing. Everything was basically discouraged as a conspiracy theory. Then it turns out later that it's correct, and of course it's gonna also add to the mistrust of, okay, this is why I didn't trust in the begin with, because you told us that this wasn't gonna work. And I would also say this, if your goal as the government was just, okay, let's reduce the deaths as much as we possibly can, and you understand that there's a portion of the population that is not going to get vaccinated, are you telling me that that there is nothing else other than the vaccine that we can do to reduce the spread of the virus? Like, I don't know, for example, the ivermectin thing?
Well, okay. That's one way to look at it. I partially agree, but I partially don't, I guess. Well, we were talking about the government is taking an oath to protect everybody, you know? Well, I think the civilians of those participating in the governments also have an oath to not let it get fucked up. So what happens is when people don't want to get vaccinated because they think they're gonna get brainwashed or something, then um, like this is a scary thought. Like if just imagine if it was actually true, you actually believe that was true. Like that's scary. Like some people just can't comprehend reality. So they really thought that was happening. So by forcing them to take it, it's only gonna put up the pressure. It's only gonna heat fucking oil on the fire. You know, it's only gonna feed the fire. So I
Yes.
think the best way to go about it is like this. The people who want to get vaccinated and want to be, we got it because we are smart. We have those vaccines. Take it, isolate it, stay inside because of this fucking lunatics, and you just have to betray them as fucking lunatics. And you also, okay, I think I have another thing that I think should be nice, but would be morally very wrong. But I think this is what should have happened: is okay, the people that are going to take the risk that they're going to have COVID by not listening, just let them go, let them do their shit, but don't fucking hospitalize them. You say, okay, like you can do this. You can go outside if you really can't control yourself or you really feel like you're gonna die otherwise. Just go ahead, get sick, but you are not getting to the hospital because we warned you. We need the hospital for cases who are actually trying and participating to get this fixed. So I would just say, let fucking nature do its work and just let those people who are failing to cooperate with you, just let them go and don't hospitalize them. Don't give them a fucking hospital bed because that way, you're not. I think you're responsible for the people who are cooperative with and supportive of what the government is doing. But when people are going the opposite direction and actually lighting buildings on fire, rioting, then why should you be responsible for them? I think they definitely they're taking matters in their own hands. So just let them figure it out themselves then, and just let the
Yeah,
people who
sure.
just get vaccinated just to
There's
look
two
them in.
things.
You
There's
know,
two
Can
things.
I
that's
ask
how I
you
think.
something though?
You know.
Do you really believe that COVID was like the Black Death in the Middle Ages, where if you get the virus
Oh,
without the
definitely,
vaccine, you
definitely.
just
Hygiene
drop
was
dead?
fucked.
Because in the Middle Ages, they literally declared you dead if you get the disease and started making your coffin. While right now, I was unvaccinated. I went to school. I knew some guy had COVID, and I made him cough on my hand, and I licked it so I could get sick and skip
Yes.
school.
But
Bro,
how much times did
it
you wash your
isn't
hands
this
today? How much time do you
crazy
take a shower?
killer
Like,
disease, bro.
those people were fucking bacterial monsters back then. They didn't get to shower. Like, they didn't shower at all. And when they had to shower, they were in a muddy pool was even
Okay.
more infested with bacteria. That's why
You're
people
saying
died so much.
You're saying COVID would have been like the Black Plague.
Yeah, no,
We had the same
it would not
standards.
been the Black Plague, but it would have been very, very, very much worse than it was right now because
Okay,
hygiene
yeah,
is
that
so
makes
important.
sense.
Sure,
It
I
would have been
agree,
That's
but
worse if we
don't
didn't
you
have the
think in
standards we do.
the time we live in now, we massively exaggerated the effects of COVID as if it would have the same results as the Black Death, even though it was not that serious.
Consider
well,
the
you better
following.
save the story, I guess.
Consider the following. I did not get vaccinated, and I never got COVID.
Yeah.
And
Lucky
I
you.
wasn't. I never washed my hands. I do not live like
Huh?
normal
Huh?
people. I don't socialize or something
No.
like that. But
Okay, not washing your hands doesn't sound very normal to me, man. That's dangerous. And
Yeah, I
dangerous for
always
the people
skip
you
the
touch as well.
fucking hand washing shit. I got COVID 3 times and I'm fine. I didn't even I barely noticed. I coughed a bit, that's why I took the test. I felt completely fine.
yeah, I rinse my hands when I go to the bathroom. But that's it.
Yeah, so it's like, do
But
you
it wasn't like
really
if I was
believe it's
outside, I
that
came home, I
much of a
washed my hands.
problem for healthy people? Like, I know if you're sick and unhealthy and fat and stuff, it's maybe an issue for you, but for a normal person, do you think it's really a problem?
Who's
Are you
this
asking me?
Sorry, I'll be right back.
IL-24
I'll be
guy?
right back.
Because this IL-24 guy is based, and y'all are retarded.
Why?
Uh-oh, you shouldn't have asked that. I'm kidding.
Basically, because our society is built upon the shoulders of thousands of years of our smartest people, and we have become complacent in how many advantages that we have that make our lives so much better, that give us advantages. Like, people can shit on public schools all they want because they don't, work for everyone, but the fact that you have at your fingertips now knowledge that took thousands of years to even come to like an inkling of is so hard to grasp for us because we're in this bubble, and our advancements of medical science are, have you heard of this concept of, if you like, technology is so, technology, without understanding technology, can be confused for magic? That is the level of our um medical advances now. Like, when
Yes.
we put someone on a ventilator, we are breathing, we have a machine breathing for someone because they literally can't breathe.
I
All
mean,
those
sure,
people,
but
every single
tell me this,
person that
tell me
went on
this,
a
right?
let me finish.
I
Every
I got
single
sick with
person that went
COVID.
on a
I was
ventilator,
fine. I don't trust this
100% would have
vaccine because
died.
Can
I
we one
don't
at a
know the
time, please?
effects.
I can't hear it now, and it's
Every
annoying.
single
Sorry, I have to,
person,
just one at a time, please.
yes, every single person who went on a ventilator, 100% of them, if they weren't on a ventilator, they would have died 100%.
Okay, so my question to you is, right? I got COVID multiple times. I was fine. I don't trust this fucking vaccine because it's not tested. It's a new thing. It's something we made and quickly are implementing because it's like a security measure. We haven't tested it and seen all of these fucking side effects or possible effects. Why would I take something that risks my health or it's like untested if personally for me it has no effect to get COVID and it doesn't bother me in any way at
No,
all? Why would
but
I get the
what
fucking
people
vaccine?
fail to realize is, oh, I kind of feel bad I didn't took the vaccine, but it was just a principle thing with me, right? But
Can
how I
still
think
do it.
about it, people don't are not really aware you are not doing it just for yourself. Sometimes you just have to make a sacrifice. Like, you don't just move forward linearly. It's like you go up, you discover an antidote. It might suck. It might have some side effects, and then you try to fix the side effects so it goes back up again. It's better.
I mean, yeah, I get it,
You
but
have
for
to
me,
make
the
sacrifices for it to go better, and you just have to partake in that because otherwise we're not going anywhere. We just need to make little sacrifices for the benefit of our next generation. Like I think that's true.
So you're telling me I
I think
like
that's
risk
important.
myself for some random fat ass person who can die from it.
Well, that's a very fucked up way to think about life, man.
I mean,
That's just sorry
you can call me
that's not,
egoistic, but for me,
that's not
it's the
that's not
vaccine.
egoistic at
I don't
all.
know what the fuck it does. I don't want to take it. For me, the COVID doesn't bother me.
It's
It
actually
doesn't
the
have any
opposite of
effect on me.
egoistic. It's like selfless. It's not egoistic. It's quite the opposite. And you know
Selfish.
why I
It's
think it?
selfish is the word you're
No,
looking for.
it's
Selfish, I guess.
selfless. It's
You could
selfless.
call me
It's not
selfish.
No,
selfish because
no,
if you're really selfish,
What?
if you are really selfish, listen, then you would take it because you know your family might benefit from it later. Maybe
No,
your
you're
kids.
mixing up the words. You're mixing up the words.
Oh, sorry, this is my lack of English then. But
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was trying to say was
Selfish is when you only think of yourself, and selfless is when you're sacrificing or doing something for someone
okay.
else.
I need to turn it around. Like it's
Yeah,
not
I'm trying to
egoistic
help
because
you,
like
yeah.
This scenario, is the fat person selfish or selfless?
Depends. I mean, being
yeah.
fat could be seen as being
Selfish means you're like
selfish.
egoistic. Selfless means like you care a lot of other people and sacrifice yourself.
Yeah, but in this scenario, the fat person we just accept is fat, but they didn't get born fat, right?
Yeah.
Most
Is
people
it
that are
really
fat,
selfish if most of those people are vulnerable because of their own actions?
yeah,
No,
this is
that's just consequences of your bad habits. We talked about bad habits before. That's just
Yes,
Yeah.
bad
but
habits
why would
fucking you
I
in the
need
ass
to take
later.
the vaccine to
Well,
protect
because it's
them
not
from their
just
own bad habits?
that. It are people who have immune diseases who are perfectly doing healthy shit. But your daughter
Sure,
maybe
yeah.
might have autoimmune disease. She has cancer maybe. Why she's weak?
I
Not
have a
that's
question
not
for you.
you know what I'm trying to say? It's not like always because of their own actions they're bad. Sometimes life is
Yeah,
just sucks, and they
let's
get a bad
accept.
seed and they have a bad spawn and they're just
Correct.
weak. So you help them get better because you are basically a little test bunny or like a test. You
I
know what I'm trying to say?
understand. Let's say
How
that there's
far does
only
it go though?
Okay,
Like,
before
how
we
much
switch
do
the
you need to
conversation, I
sacrifice
need to
yourself?
respond to the things that you guys are saying. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 minutes here. I want you guys to hear my responses to
Take 3 or 4,
pretty
whatever.
much as many
5.
possible things that I could possibly think. Okay, so first of all, the pandemic was not announced in April, it was in March 11th. You can research that for yourself. The virus was not as deadly. Okay, so no, and I said March, but you wanted to challenge me, so no, it's actually March. I was
I
right.
said I
So
think it was in
next,
April.
virus was not as
Let
deadly
him
as
speak.
it was announced on media. The virus was not as deadly as it was announced on media. I think this is a bullshit argument. I think at the time we're talking about a global pandemic that is basically spreading throughout the fucking world. So that can only be proven with data that involves death rates before implementations were made. In other words, before the whole world was in agreement that lockdowns was the way we're going to go about this until we develop a vaccine, the only thing we can do is lockdowns. And before that, we're talking about 2 to 4 months maximum of data that we can point to and say this actually was a deadly virus. And if we are going to look at those 2 to 4 months, we need to look at the level of death rates that we saw and then compare it to after the implementations were made in order to come to a conclusion of whether it was more deadly without the vaccines or more deadly with the vaccines. And we've come to the conclusion, so it's been 2 years since then, 4 years since then, we have enough data to come to the conclusion that yes, it was a fucking deadly virus. And the fact that we were able to maintain it was due to the vaccines. Next, people should be able to make their own decisions. While I would agree with that normally, you're assuming that those people have their own best intentions at heart, which was your statement actually, which they clearly didn't at the time due to their overarching logic for not taking the vaccines. It was based on mistrust in the system and conspiracy theories that they had prior to COVID. In other words, these people mistrusted the system anyway. And now with all the things going on with the news and this idea that they're pushing this narrative onto people just made people mistrust it even more, which is a point to be proven that the people who were not taking the vaccines was not because they didn't like the vaccines or what was in the vaccines. It was because of their overarching ideology. So in other words, these people, whether they knew it or not, were conscious of their decision making that, you know, this is actually a bad thing why we're talking about vaccines, why we're going to take vaccines. It's not the vaccines the problem. They had a problem with the system. That was their problem. So they're not in the right state of mind to be making decisions based on, I could die here or I could not die here. Second of all, they are governments, so they have a legal responsibility to take care of their people. Third, Middle Age plagues can't be compared to nowadays because they had limited to no exposure to medicines, first of all. Also, like Ilias mentioned, hygiene. So you're taking a analogy from the past, which cannot be comparable to the future, and somehow you're equating them. It's rubbish. You never do that with anything else. Next, I never got vaccinated and I was fine. So therefore, COVID was insignificant. This is bullshit. Nobody ever uses personal accounts to compare to a global fucking pandemic. You look at the data that is collected over thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to understand whether or not COVID had consequences, not your own personal experience. I was locked in my room for 2 years. I never even went out of my fucking room. Therefore, COVID didn't even exist. It's a bullshit argument. Last but not least, I don't trust the vaccines because it's not tested. While that argument stood at the beginning of its implementation due to the fact it was new and untested, but you're missing the fact that it was a global pandemic at the time and the world was in a state of panic. Nonetheless, we have the data now to prove that it does work. In other words, it's not this new, untested, crazy fucking thing. It actually does help people. Thus, the death rates went down. We have the data to suggest that. Okay, well, if you don't know that...
Sometimes
well,
you just have to take the gamble a little bit. Sometimes you just have to... think about what it will do in the future. Not only what it will do for you.
And thus, the medical professionals who created the vaccine had a good reason to believe that this would help and it was the best thing we had at the time. Thus, they implemented. Well, if you know that, then the argument that it is new and untested is a bullshit argument. So, I'm done.
I'm talking about side effects.
I think there's one thing that is not discussed yet. And it's, okay, some people might disagree. I think fewer people are going to agree than people are going to disagree. But I think like this, people should be able to be self-responsible. Like COVID for young people like me, I'm 19, is not really all that difficult, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that life-threatening.
Okay. Well,
so you
have
can
young people never died
get
before?
COVID. Wait. Let me finish, please. So you can go with your friends and just get COVID and say fuck it. This is not relevant to me because I am healthy and shit. And for the friends are the same thing. And when somebody does get sick, that's their own fault because we took the risk and we are aware of it. But what you do is you just don't go to your grandma. You just don't make it other people's problems, and you're just keeping it with the people you are risking it. You know, so my English is bad. I wish I would speak my own language so I could be formal and shit. But damn, what I'm trying to say is, like, just evaluate it for yourself. If you and your friends are going to take the risk, just do it.
Yes.
But just don't go to your grandma or don't see your father, or just keep a distance with a mask on. You know,
Yep.
Like those things were common knowledge. If you have a mask and you keep your distance, it's so fine. It's fine. It's so easy to work around, but it's just. Damn, why are people so stupid and fucking it up, man? Like, it would be so easy.
Again, I
know?
disagree with this.
It angers me.
Yeah,
So that's why
I
I'm saying-
love the idea. Yeah, I love the idea that we can live in a world where human beings can make their own decisions. Trust me, I envision a world like that. But you have to understand there need to be systems in place to allow for an overarching structure, a system to be functional. Okay, and if everybody's going,
I agree with you. Let me just say this.
Same.
But do you think you said that 100 million people died from COVID, right?
I
Last time you
I
said
didn't
that.
give you a number.
Okay, but last time-
I've never given you a number for COVID because I don't know the number. So why would I give you a
Last
number
time-
for it? No, I
Last
didn't.
time we talked
I have the
about-
recordings. If you want me to go over it, I've never given you a
All
number.
right,
Yeah.
then let's assume that 100 millions died, okay? And let's say that over the entire time in these 4 years, over the entire world, and let's say that this adds up to what, 2% of the population, okay? Do you think that at 2% death, you take away people's rights to choose? Is that justifiable?
No.
Because I would agree with you if the numbers are really high and if the vaccine is going to lower those numbers, because you need both, then sure, you can take them away if the numbers were at like 30%. But if the numbers are in the 1 to 2%, are you just gonna take people's rights away? Because that's where it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So your argument,
How high does
therefore,
it need to be?
All right. So your argument is therefore we need to go back and look at the data, which is a point I already presented to you, is the only data sources we have is prior to the lockdowns. Okay. So that's our implementation. Everything that happens from that moment forward is considered a reaction to our implementations. You can't use that data to support your argument unless your argument is that vaccines are good. So the only other data source is prior to we do that.
Let me just add here. If the purpose was to save lives of these lockdowns, then all the consequences that come because of the lockdowns, which is inflation, which is higher suicide, which is whatever, are also have to be taken into account. It cannot just be, well, we saved this many people from that would otherwise die from COVID, but let's ignore that we caused a global inflation. You know, everything has to be taken into account, and that hasn't been done yet. Also, you cannot compare. I don't like you say that these lockdowns were good because after the beginning, less people died. How do we know that that's because of the lockdowns? Because the next question is gonna be, who do you think is safer? Somebody who has gotten COVID and survived, or somebody who got vaccinated?
Oh, he's gonna leave again because he somehow thinks your argument doesn't make sense.
Okay, then you two answer.
Okay, I think I have an answer, but it's not the answer directly to this argument you gave, but I'm gonna add a new one to it. It's like the way you think about this depends on how you look at what way the world should go. Like for me personally, I think the world who is like the people are in control by one central government is very scary to me. I feel like
I
we
agree.
need to we can like natural selection, man. Some people tend to
Yes,
forget, but deep down we are still fucking animals, and we
correct.
fuck around to find out. So when we find out, we try to improve on ourselves and not by somebody forcing us to do what they want. So we don't have any free experience with it, and we don't base our own opinions on it because we just follow something we don't really thought through.
Keep in mind there.
We don't even have the knowledge to think through. But I think just sometimes you just need to fuck around a little bit to find out. And I think
I
you
agree
just have to
completely.
let nature do the work itself a little bit more.
Yes,
And I think some people tend to forget that. But like, we are not meant to be controlled by one certain thing. We are meant to be free, fucking getting our own food. And it sounds like primitive, but it's actually in essence what we are, and it's still how our brain works. So I
yes.
think we just have to let loose of the whole control thing and just let this figure it out yourself a little bit, you know?
Because you are in agreement with me here that when people's freedoms are infringed, it's dangerous. That's why I said, at what number, how many people do have to die until you say, okay, people's freedoms are gone now, because the government knows better, and the government here is apparent because like the way that we talk about this is as if the government is flawless, like they did very good decisions. From my perspective, they were pretty stupid because, like I said before, okay, you have a certain amount of people who are never going to vaccinate. Is there nothing else that we could tell them that would help them?
Well, I think there's a certain point where you draw the line, and I think where you draw the line is when you're saying, "Listen, we got vaccines. If everyone just does this, it will be over quickly." And if they don't do it and they get scared and they're talking about you're going to poison them, like that's just fucked. That's just weird, and that's just disrespectful and ungrateful. So when that happens, I think you just draw a line and say, "Okay, listen, right now we can't help you because you're too ignorant to be helped because." If you can't change your mind, you're not going to be helped. Like if someone feels cornered, if someone's scared, you can't just calm him down. When he sees a fucking bear in front of him who's going to attack him, you can't just say, calm down, sit down. No. People get scared, people do crazy shit. So what I say is that okay, at this point you're not you're not gonna have rights to go to a hospital. Like just get sick, just do whatever you want. People who are smart take the vaccine, chill inside for like I don't know how long it takes, 1, 2, 3 months or something. Just chill inside, wait it out. You know what I'm trying to say? Let those other guys just get infected, do all this crazy stuff, and when then they and you know when the lesson get learned, in my opinion, is then people get sick, and they shit. Oh shit! I need to go to the hospital. They say no, no, you took the risk. You can't go to the hospital now, and that's how people learn, man.
Do you
It's like
think the
okay,
sentiment? Do you think the sentiment over the world right now is, I regret that I took the vaccine, or do you think they're like, thank goodness I didn't take the vaccine, Because if the reality is that all those people that didn't take the vaccine are fucked, then the message should be, I regret not taking the vaccine because my life was so horrible without it. Because the feeling I get from talking to people is, I only took it because I was forced, because I was gonna lose my job. That
Yes,
was
but
the main motivator.
I mean, I
that's
have a
so.
question, right, for the
For me, that really
what's his
fucks me
name?
up inside, man.
ID24.
That's where
May I
I
ask
go
something?
crazy, literally.
So, what do you think about my like reaction to this? I saw this vaccine, and in my head, I thought like it's not tested. I don't know what this shit will do. I don't trust whatever fucking scientist bullshit person wants me to take this because,
Okay,
well, they don't really care that much about the side effects and more about like the lives of the people who would die
okay,
from COVID. So in my head, I thought I
okay.
don't. It's fine if I get
I have a
COVID.
real answer
Fuck
for
those
this.
other people. I'm not gonna take it.
They
Okay,
have
okay.
whole
Do you know what I
incentive.
think about it? I think about it like this. You are fucking ignorant, and I'm gonna tell you why. We started off with picking rocks into a tree and making a little shelter. Now we have particle accelerators. We we have basically superpowers. We click on a fucking button and we have a pizza delivered at our door 10 minutes later. We can cure disease. We can alter our fucking mind like with the Neuralink that's happening right now. We can artificially live for like 20 years longer than we're supposed to be. We can go to the fucking moon. We can
Question.
like how do you think that all happened? Fucking science.
Yeah,
Science is real. Science is real.
Yeah,
You just have
sure,
to
but you know,
trust
like,
science.
do
People.
you know the stuff in
Okay,
advance,
I'm
the
almost
like
done. I'm almost done. I'm
toxic
almost
stuff
done.
that they didn't know about for like
Because
the
okay,
entirety
this
of
is why
our
I'm getting annoyed
history,
because
you
you didn't let
know?
me finish again. Okay, listen. You are compared to the smart people, the scientists that really figure shit out. Like, go try to make a fucking rocket from scratch. What you need is slow progression, and you just have to listen to the people that are smarter than you. If you don't do that, you're ignorant. I am
Right.
not that smart. I'm not dumb. I am not dumb, but I'm not smart
You're
like those
saying you should
scientists are.
listen to other people and
Yeah.
don't think for yourself, and
No, you
if you
don't have
think
to
for
listen
yourself,
to
you're
other
ignorant.
people. You don't have to listen to
Right,
other people.
okay, I'm back.
You have to listen to people who have more knowledge about a certain thing than you have. Like
Sure, sure, but
excessively more knowledge, you have to listen to them. Yeah.
how
Okay.
much
Otherwise,
All
you're just
right. All
ignorant
right. Just
and
listen to me,
hindering
everybody.
them.
Calm
That's
down.
what I think.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know
But
what you guys are
smartness
talking about. Yeah. No, it's not about being smart. This is pretty simple. Right. So I sat here and wrote down a full list of answers. 5 answers, in fact. 5. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a prime example. So I knew what I was doing before I wrote this list, but I know I'm adapting to my environment. I'm understanding how to deal with these kinds of arguments that we have. All right. So the reason I write down these arguments, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 direct answers or arguments to your questions. Now, in a debate, okay, the idea is you ask me a question which you posed to me originally, which sparked this whole conversation, and I answer your question, and then if you don't have an argument for it, then I ask you another question, or you ask me a different question if you don't want to respond to that. That's how it works, okay? It's not you ask me a question, all right? You pose to me several questions. So you had many questions. So I sit here and I answer 6 of your questions, all right? Very clearly and exactly. The whole time, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but when I finish explaining my 6 answers, not one of you has an argument to say. So, no, wait a minute. I'm speaking about facts. So what actually happened, Zen? What actually happened was nobody had any arguments for my direct answers. Okay, but okay, that's awesome. If you have arguments, what I heard, so I'm speaking on a fact basis for what actually happened, was nobody had an argument for what I said, okay? You all said, yeah, okay, so, or whatever, and then just moved on to asking more questions. Now, this cannot ever happen in a debate, and the reason it can never happen is because you're not engaging. This is why I use the word engaging all the time. You're not engaging. This is engagement, okay? You pose a question, I answer the question, you either combat or follow up or counterclaim, okay, to argue with my answer, or you agree with what I'm saying. So in the case that you don't say nothing, okay, my default position is, oh, so you agree. Now, I don't honestly believe that you guys agree because you never agree. So I'm thinking, okay, so not engaging with my question. Now, what do I do when the next set of questions comes, because they're coming. I know they're coming. So I'm sitting here listening to Easy Game's questions again, even though the same questions that I previously answered were from him. I answer all of them. He doesn't engage with either of them. So now am I supposed to sit here, write another list of answers, engage with you in good faith, just so you can totally mark them as irrelevant, not engage with them in any way whatsoever, and then just move on to your next questioning? No, you're going to need to engage if we're going to have a debate.
I tried to interrupt.
Okay.
I forgot. I didn't
That's-
ask a single
that's
question.
fine.
I'm just
That's
answering
fine.
almost.
That's fine.
Not fine.
My-
I think I have to ask more questions because I
Yeah.
didn't ask.
My
I just answered your
anger,
questions.
does not stem to Elias. I'm just making this very fucking clear. It's not to Elias. Elias is, this is his first day in the chat, and
I was ignorant because
and
I
we
didn't ask a single question. I was only answering. That's also not good. I
okay.
have to, like,
That's fine. But the only thing
it's
is,
not that nice.
he has already given me reasons to believe that the guy honestly has good intentions, because when I have posed good arguments for his claims, he's gonna say, oh fuck, at least that's good to think about. Okay, this is something that I've never heard once from Easy Game, or maybe from Xen. So Easy Game, as far as I'm concerned, have zero interest in communicating with you, and this is your own doing, okay? So now you've posed me another 3 questions. Now I'm going to engage with them again. Imagine the fucking level of patience that I have for you. So, one of your fucking arguments, which was, oh, you don't want me. You don't want me to answer your questions. Oh, you want to engage with, no? All right, let's go.
Did Elias and Xen think that anything that I responded to you was unfair?
You didn't engage with anything I said. You didn't say, hey, okay, so your first point, this, I have this to say. So your second point, I have this to say. You didn't even mention anything. You just went, oh, so, and then start talking about fucking inflation in a global pandemic.
Because look, if we care about life saving, then the solution that we're gonna propose, we have to also look at. Yeah, but
hey, Easy Game, your original questions didn't involve inflation. So I didn't account for inflation. Inflation is the question you followed up with, which has nothing to do with what we were previously talking about, which has nothing to do with your arguments to me, which has nothing to do with my answers to you. So I don't know why the fuck. No, it fucking doesn't. No, you can't answer pandemic was announced in April with inflation. You can't answer virus was not as deadly as it was on media with inflation. You can't answer people should be able to make their own decisions with inflation. You can't answer middle-aged plagues can't be compared to nowadays plagues or viruses with inflation. You can't answer I never got vaccinated, I was fine with inflation. And you lastly cannot answer I don't trust the vaccines because it's not tested with inflation. So here's a clear-cut proof of the fucking behavior you do on a daily basis, which drives me to the fucking border with you. I'm sick and tired of you. I am tired of you. Yes, Elias, welcome. I told you.
It was not disrespectful. I told you. I love this shit, man. This really.
No, I'm gonna call everybody out when they fucking do this shit because it drives me fucking crazy.
Only when you're right. No, only when you know you have a point. Otherwise, it's stupid. But when you know you're right, that's
yes. I know I'm fucking right.
About it before you speak again. Yeah,
and I've been dealing with this on a daily basis for the last fucking week. That's why I've prepared today, motherfucker. And here's the fucking proof. So engage with it. This is your last chance because I'm not giving you another chance.
I am. Look, if the proposed solution causes
Mate.
I swear to God, if I fucking hear the word inflation, I swear to fucking God.
Sometimes sometimes I'm dead silent because I don't know a lot about the topic. You just have to stay quiet sometimes. When you don't know, you need to let not the smarter guy, but the guy who has more knowledge on that specific subject. You have to let him speak so you can hear what he says, so you can think about it and say, hey, okay, he knows more than me about it, so I might have to listen to him so I can actually learn something from
Elias,
it. And then
my
maybe
brother.
later come back and critique him, you know?
Elias,
so
this is
sometimes you just stay silent. That's what you do.
This is a conversation. This is a conversation.
It's not a point. It's about learning shit, you know?
We had an argument the other day. We had an argument about this the other day, okay? That's why it got brought up. That's why we are arguing about it again. And those emotions from that last time, and I got fucking gaslit to fucking infinity and beyond about how I'm being bad faith. I just yap, okay? And they are actually totally good faith. They are scholars in debating skills, apparently, because they never do anything that's fucking wrong. This is gaslighting, okay? And it pisses people off. And I've warned them about it time and time again. Today, here is solid proof that this is happening. So,
Okay, then
what?
let me speak.
Why should I give you another chance? I've had enough of you.
Because you're just asserting this. You're just asserting
Asserting this? No, motherfucker. Here's the claim. Here's the evidence. Right in front of you. It's right in front of you. I have a recording.
I think the bucket is full,
I have a
man.
recording.
I can't lie. I think the bucket is full.
So
I think it's overflowing right now, man.
Yeah.
So you're saying.
Go on.
So you're saying a proposed solution. We do not look at the consequences of the proposed solution.
I fucking hate you. Right,
He
motherfucker.
wants
It's a
you to-
pretty
he wants you
simple
to
thing. Even
reply
Zen,
like
not
the
sorry, not even Zen. Zen understands this. Zen understands this. Yet you are inconceivable to even fucking. I'm done. I'm done with you. I don't ever want to be involved in a fucking Discord with you. Yeah, I'm
This is a
done.
breakup.
I'm done.
This is a fucking breakup.
No,
here, man.
Elias, this is where you draw the line, bro.
Man.
My mental health is much more valuable than arguing with a piece of shit
I'm
like
not, I'm not
Easy
saying
Game.
anyone is wrong or right. I'm
Right.
just trying to.
So, this is how it's going to go. I don't ban people. I never mute people. That's my least desire. So, we can create another fucking voice channel where people can join me where I'm at, or they can go to Easy Game if that's their thing. I'm not going to tell you who to fucking support or whatever. I have zero fucking interest in that. If you all want to talk to Easy Game, that's all you, my guys, all right? I have zero interest in listening and engaging with it. So, you can stay in the same voice chat, but I'm not going to fucking engage with you until I decide that that's the right thing to do. So, I'm done. Enjoy your Havoc conversation. There you go.
Holy shit, man. That's this guy. Oh, I need to talk to him a little bit more.
Hey, I think that
this shit makes me
you
think.
look
You
at
know,
the
I like to
information,
think.
but his point is that he wants you to reply directly to the points he's saying and not like add any extra aspects, I guess.
What was the main point?
I mean, he had 5 on screen. There wasn't really a main point.
Well,
I think he wants
okay.
you to pick one and make a direct reply.
All right. If it's on screen, let me check.
Well, okay. How I feel about this? Okay, our host is a little bit pissed off, which has reason for, to be honest, because I don't let it get to me, but he has. He's a little bit more. He lets it. That's maybe a little bit bad thing about him. He lets it get to him, like it gets him fired up, like and that's something he maybe needs to work on. It might be good, but maybe
I
not.
mean,
Sometimes.
one thing I do have to say is that he didn't really like. I wanted to interrupt him and engage with the point like the first time he showed it, but he didn't really let me
He
talk.
just
He
went
just
through
kept
6
talking
points
over it,
and then
so you
GG.
can't really
Yeah,
can't
but he-
really engage if he doesn't let you
Well,
talk.
that's just we joined in, and it's like there needs to be like some rules. But I joined in because of a stream. I was like bored. I've been sick for 3 days now, so I was just trying to get some hot discussion shit going. He's the host. He's hosting this show. He's the one who kind of gets to control the shit. That's how it works. That's why we have a host. So
You can't just call somebody that he's gaslighting. Like if my arguments are so bad, he would let me speak right there. Like, is
Yeah,
it?
but he, to be honest, he let you speak enough, man. But he decides in which
Did you
dynamic the
feel like
situation
my
goes.
arguments were horrible? That like I was gaslighting or not engaging?
No. You were not gaslighting. That's his problem because he lets it get to him. But that's not from because he's actually insulted about what he's saying. But it's like he is trying to learn us something, and you were like not giving him a chance to like explain himself, and like he
I'm
explained
not.
himself. Listen. He tried to explain himself, and he was like very factual about it. Like he tried to explain himself in a very good way, like factual and shit. He explained it, and it was facts, and you still just borderline denied it, and that's where the frustration comes from, I guess, because
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't remember which one I denied. Can you repeat it? Which one did I not engage
well, it was not exactly denying, but it was like
or not engage?
you asked the question, and then he answered your question, and then you just completely ignored the answer he gave you, and you just
What was
started
the
a whole
question?
new.
What was the question and what was his answer?
Well, it was something about. Okay, listen. Okay. I know. I'm not very good, but I
I
swear.
also don't have good memory. That's
Listen,
why I asked.
listen. No. I don't even know what I've eaten for breakfast, but I can give you an example. It's like this. I'm not gonna give you a real example, but it's like we were talking about vaccines, right?
Yeah.
So you asked him about what are we supposed to do? We're just supposed to let us getting forced, just allow it to get forced to take the vaccine. I don't know if you said the question or but it
like
doesn't
the
matter
number,
because
like what
it's an
number is
example,
enforced? Yeah. Okay.
right? And then he gave a very good answer to you, and you didn't acknowledge the answer, and you just started talking about something different, like totally different. And I get that's annoying.
I
You
get
know?
that's annoying, but I don't
Yeah.
remember doing that.
Yeah, but that's on you. and not on him, because he is probably. I'm also very bad memory guy. I had trouble like recalling this, like explaining this to you. That was hard for me. Like it's not. You need to learn from this, man. Like he gave like this. He gave good answers. It takes brain power to formulate an answer like this, especially when you're on the spot like this. And for them to like not give an answer and then you just completely ignore it and like shake it off, like okay, and you just move on to something else, and then later you jump back to the same uh, subject or like topic which you already gave you the answer from, so you had to give the answer another time, and then it just shifted. So I think like 3 or 4 times he said the same answer and you still didn't really do anything with it. You don't have to say
Okay,
anything, just
I'll
think
ask him
about it.
what
Then
I
what
don't
I did
remember
is
it, but
you
I'll
you
ask
go
him.
silent. You just have to
So
say. Sometimes I just been silent for 2 minutes to like think what I'm hearing, because I don't really know what the fuck I'm hearing right now, because
was it on the topic of at what point do we take people's rights away?
yeah, and he
Okay,
like
then I'll
yeah,
ask him
then
again then, because I don't
it went
remember what his answer was to
yeah.
that. But even like, okay, things are complicated. Even when you were talking before about technology, right? The thing that I was and when somebody brings up a point, I don't write it down. I have to remember, so maybe I forget something. Uh, but so and you can bring up multiple points, and I won't remember everything. But the thing about technology, what I was gonna ask you was, but people's morality didn't change, right?
No, not exactly, but acknowledging is one thing. Like, okay, you have two ways of acknowledging. It's like, okay, he has more valid points, he has more data, he has more facts than me, so I'm just gonna go agree. Or you can like agree and think about it, and then just think about it and try and form your own opinion about it, and then later on, you can challenge him again about the same topic, and now you have the same information as him because you learned from him, and now you can challenge him with the information he gave you, so you give him another question, so he has to think about it from another perspective. Then you get an answer from him, and those then you go somewhere. Then it's like you go somewhere. If you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I hate my English is not
Hey
good because
boss, can you
I
like
sound fucking
pop up
stupid.
the points again and let me like engage with like one of them or not?
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Yeah, man. No worries. All right. So the first thing is irrelevant because it was a personal thing that between me and him. Obviously, yeah, the announcement for the pandemic was announced on March 11th. Nonetheless, second point, virus was not as deadly as it was announced on media. Meaning the only way to prove that, okay, is you have to look at the death rates prior to the implementation and then compare them to, just by themselves. So how severe were the death rates? Were people dying left, right, and center
Okay,
prior?
and my response to
Hey,
that
hey.
was,
Oh yeah, go. Sorry.
okay, I remember what I answered. But if you're gonna go through the entire list, I won't remember. So my response to this was, if there was a new virus that pops up tomorrow and is very contagious, my assumption is that more people are going to die in the beginning. It's a new virus. People are gonna get, and let's say that it spreads very fast. The people for the next year, so if we're comparing, because we would be comparing how many deaths in the beginning versus how many deaths after 1 year. The next year, all the people that died from the virus are not in the pool anymore. So the only people that are in the pool are either the unaffected, because it's possible that not everybody got infected by in 1 year, or the people who got the virus and survived. And the next part would be, it's very likely that the people who got the virus and survived have some type of immunity right now. So obviously they're not gonna be as affected anymore next year. That was my point.
Alright, cool. So now, yeah, now you get an answer. I
Wait,
hope you
boss,
get an
do you
answer now.
think
Now
this
I'm
is
waiting
like
for an
an
answer.
adequate response or like
No,
a topic
I
change again?
wasn't here. I muted it until he was done talking.
But do you think that this is fair?
No, okay, that's not fair. You. He was trying. He was improving. He
I'm not asking what he did, but if my
I
answer
am a human being. When I've been dealing with this fucking type of shit for 2 weeks and you've been driving me up the fucking wall and this is my reaction to that, I feel that I'm perfectly within my bounds to act as childish as I fucking want to, considering the level of immaturity that you've been providing me with. So you can go fuck yourself for all I care. I don't care. I have zero interest because as far as I'm concerned, you're bad faith. The end. Zero interest in communicating with you. Zero. The only way this ends, right? Let me make this very clear to you. The only way this changes from the current stage is I trust you, okay? I trust you. The only way that happens is while you're engaging with everybody else, I start to see that, oh, fuck, you know what? Easy Game's actually engaging with people. He's making a change. So I'm going to base it off your actions. For now, your actions have not said anything to me. So while I muted you right now, I think I'm within my bounds. Literally happened like half an hour ago. So yeah, I'm pissed off. So I'll mute you. I don't give a fuck. Zero interest. Call me childish, call me anything you fucking want to. I have zero interest. So go about your business, talk to everybody else. I'm not going to tell you what to fucking do. Do your own thing, my guy. When I see that it is time for me where I'm perfectly capable of engaging with you, then I will do so. But until now, for 2 weeks, you've done nothing but be bad faith. Now you've decided, oh no, actually I'm going to change. Okay, let me see that happen. And when I do see that happen, and I decide that I'm going to engage with you from now on, then I will do that. Until then, I don't care. I don't give a fuck what you think. I've already proved my case, made it very clear that that's the case. That's what's going on. You can deal with it however the fuck you want, whether you agree with it or not.
Okay. But now I have something. Okay, I hope this doesn't trigger you. I say this with respect, right?
Yeah,
this is exactly what I was explaining with the whole vaccine thing. If you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't actually.
Okay. Let me explain.
You didn't hear what
I'm gonna try
Easy
to
Games
explain
said.
this.
He
Very good.
repeated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, okay, you are for 2 weeks you are not listening or not engaging enough or like not doing it right. Okay. So you just let it go and you just let him do.
No, I don't. I argue with him consecutively every single day and he drives me over the fucking wall.
Listen.
Okay, yeah, but you haven't been here for 2 weeks, so you don't have the context that matters.
No,
Yeah?
but the context doesn't really matter. It's
Oh,
just
it doesn't
the thing
matter.
that's-
Okay.
No, not what I'm trying to say. No, it
All right,
doesn't
I'll let
really
you
matter.
finish then.
Because I was just okay. Thanks.
He means Easy Games should fuck off now after the 2 weeks.
No.
That-
Okay, listen. Yeah, right. Okay, so let's just say he was rioting. Like, okay, let's just say you weren't rioting, but you weren't engaging and you weren't cooperating with this discussion, right? So let's say you were rioting. Okay, you just let him let him free. And then when he gets sick, like now they want to change, and now they see, okay, shit, what I was doing is bad, and now they ask real questions. You say, no, you can't go to the hospital. Now you need to just learn it yourself, and then maybe next pandemic, you're gonna learn. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, and my answer to that is very simple. I'm not the government of the world. I'm an individual person, okay? There's a limited amount of responsibilities that I hold in the world. The example I would much rather give would be an inadequate one on a personal level, meaning you have a girl in your life, okay? And that girl cheats on you for 2 weeks straight, all right? Then you tell her, you confront her, you provide her with evidence, and she says, oh, I'm actually going to change. I'm actually going to change. Yes, I feel about you that way. Yes, you are my cheating fucking girlfriend. Yes, exactly. So I am deciding I'm not going to trust you for now, okay? Until I decide that I'm going to. I haven't said that, oh, fuck off, get out of my fucking Discord channel, get the fuck out of here, I'm going to mute you. I haven't done any of that. I've just muted you because I have zero interest in listening to your voice until I decide that... Yeah, okay, you respect that or not, I don't give a fuck, okay? That's my reaction, whether you like it or not. It's a personal thing. You've made this very, very fucking personal. So I'm taking it there, considering that's where you wanted it to go. So, yes, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a fuck, mate. I am not the government. I am the streamer, okay? That's it. That's all I mean to you.
Bro. I finally have a question for you, man. Damn. I haven't asked a lot of questions because... as you said, I'm stubborn. I think I already know, but now I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Wait, before this,
like
boss, can I reply to
let's
your
go.
point?
Yeah, sure.
Like, engage with it.
Yes, sure you can, man. But there are a lot of points. Maybe we wanna. If Elias has something short to say, and we can hash this out.
Okay, I'm trying to keep it short. I wish I could just. You don't understand how annoyed I am because I can't just put my words.
Bro, you are fine. You are fine. Do your thing. Do your thing. Don't worry
I feel,
about it.
I feel
English
like
is not
I'm
your
very
first
stupid
language.
right now.
Your English is not your first language. Why the fuck would I like? Why the fuck is he taking so long to explain? No, it's not your first language.
No, it's not about the fact that it's taking me long to explain. I don't give a fuck how long it takes, but it's like
You don't have the words. You don't have the words to
I
explain.
don't
Yes,
have the
I
words,
understand.
so I
Yes.
can't in detail tell you how
Yes.
I'm feeling
Yes.
because I don't know the words to explain how I really feel, and that really drives me nuts.
That's
but okay,
fine, man. Try your
I'm gonna
best.
keep it short. Okay, so what we're talking about is like when people riot, you just like I said, let them get sick, but don't let them into the hospital when they are okay.
I don't agree with that analogy. You have to be careful with this. You're comparing me, an individual.
Yeah. This one.
There are different rules that apply. That's why I'm saying it's not analogous.
Okay. So you think those things? Do you think it makes a difference if a government does that or somebody does
An
it on a personal
individual?
basis? That was my question. Yeah, that was my question.
Yes, 1,000,000,000%. Yes.
Cool.
Yes,
Can you
definitely.
explain me a little bit why? Because
Okay.
I don't.
First of all, okay. So
about it yet,
first of all, a government, okay, an institution takes an oath and they are legally bound by the decisions that they make. Meaning you will go to jail, okay, in the event that you act against the interest of the people, for one, or you've done something, you don't pay attention to them, blah blah blah. There are legal, okay, things that you will encounter in the event that you do something bad, okay? I don't have a legal obligations. So my loss, okay, the cons I face from behaving this way are easy game gets riled up, pissed off, whatever. Okay, I'm giving you worst case scenario. Somehow he manages to rile up all my following and say, hey, this guy's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And then people stop watching me. That's like worst case, okay, for me. Now, when you go to the government, worst case for the government, your people standing up is mass fucking murder on a global scale. Shit goes into chaos. The world falls apart. Like, just use your fucking imagination. That's why I say it's not analogous, because the cons I face from behaving this way and the cons the government face from behaving this way are astronomically different. And on the other side, in the positives of me giving him the time of day and behaving in good faith and just saying, yes, okay, I know you've been behaving this way. I'm going to be mature about it. I'm going to give you a chance, blah, blah, blah. I could do that, which we can argue that I'm wrong to not do that. I agree. I am wrong to not do that. I should give him another chance, okay? The reason I'm not is because I'm choosing to be childish about it, because I can.
That's exactly why I didn't get vaccinated, right? That's just principles.
No,
like,
Elias, okay. If you want to use
am I getting that wrong again?
If we want to use an analogy, it has to be analogous.
Be
It was metaphorically. It was not. It was metaphorically. Like
It can be metaphorical, but you're connecting it to the current situation that we are dealing with, okay? So if you want to use an analogy, the reason why I chose the girlfriend is because that is much more similar in contrast with our current situation than the government behaving during COVID and me, how I behave with Easy Game. Do you get it?
Right, so okay. So you say if you are giving the example, you have to do it with something that we didn't discuss like an hour ago, and just.
Okay. No, the idea is that I can't engage with your analogy about the government because it's not comparable to our current situation between me and Easy Game. It's incomparable. It's impossible for me to make that calculation. They are not equal in any way whatsoever. You're talking about governments and billions of people, and you're talking about two insignificant individuals on the face of the planet who are getting angsty and pissy with one another because of the way they treat each other. It's insignificant. It's compared to that. That's a huge fucking thing. Okay, that's why it's not analogous, and that's why you will never do that. That's why I gave you a good analogy, which is again a personal thing that happens between two individuals and how they would behave with one another. It's analogous. It's good to compare those two things. There are very more similarities than not. Do you get my point?
Yeah, I get your point, but what I realize is I have a very different look about how shit happens, man. I feel like the whole world is just people going. It's all personal.
Okay, so I would tell you.
I think I know it's wrong, but I feel like
no. I will explain it to you, bro.
I will explain my mind a little bit.
I will explain it to you why it's.
It to me.
Yeah, no, in a different way. The reason why it's not good to see it in that way is because in that hypothetical, in that environment, okay, you have the people having the weight of the country on their shoulders, okay? That's what that analogy is. If I think that everybody should be held accountable for the decisions they make and the things they say on a level that the government is held to, okay, then we arrive at certain problems where people's freedoms go away. And I think we both are going to come to the conclusion that that's not a good thing. Personally, I don't think that a man who earns enough money to buy a Lamborghini is a problem in society. But a government would never fucking do that. And the reason they won't do that is because the cons they face, the persecution they face for, you know, going out and buying a fucking Lambo because that's what they fucking want to do, is a lot more severe than on the individual level. So we hold people.
Right. So there's levels. There's levels on.
Yes,
stuff,
applied to different people in different parts of
Right.
society.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why you wouldn't
Might
do
sound
that.
stupid,
It's a good
but
argument.
I always thought this. Maybe it's a little bit how I was raised. Actually, it's all one level. We're all just human, and we're all just animals at last. You know, that's just. I never thought in levels. I just thought everything was like flat. I'm very bad at authority. I am very. That was probably already noticeable. I'm very bad at authority, so that's why I didn't understand this.
Yeah, I'm also very bad with authority. You can ask Zen personally about that. The idea is that they have an oath, okay? They are held accountable for every single little decision they make. We're not. I can literally divorce my wife today, go out and fuck 17 women, and who the fuck is going to care about it? Except for me, my wife, and me and my wife. Now, if the fucking president of a country were to do that, you're talking about him yes, and then you're literally talking about the government collapsing, and now we need to replace him, and now that's why they don't make the same decisions as average human beings make. They're very careful about the things they do, because you could literally escalate shit to incomprehensible levels by doing that. So that's why we don't do that. You can argue that I think we should do that. I don't think so, because that would be very bad, I would argue. But we don't do that nonetheless anywhere in the world. Even a fucking dictatorship, that doesn't happen. So yeah.
Damn, bro, I just leveled up. I just unlocked a new thought, man, for real.
Yeah, you did. That was an interesting talk. Right, Zen.
Oh, okay, my brain is fucked now. So I think this is. I'm gonna go now. Not because I hate it. I fucking loved it, but my brain is going to explode right now.
Yeah, welcome to the fucking stream. We do this every single day.
Yeah. Every single day, okay.
Every day I get pissy
Give it
with
2
somebody.
weeks, you're gonna be called bad faith.
Yeah.
This talk about mental illness. This would give me. This will.
Nice job.
Holy shit! My head is fucking racing right now. I'm. Okay, I need to.
Elias, I enjoy the man. Have a good day, and I'll probably see you soon. Nonetheless, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you again. Yeah.
All right, man. Take care.
And I'm gonna have some new questions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What I'm personally working on. That's why I joined in the first place.
Yeah.
Mostly because I was sick for 4 days, but I don't really listen to people and ask people questions. I never ask questions. I just only answer shit, because I'm stubborn like that, and I think I know everything.
Yeah.
But hey,
we're all a bit like that.
Yes, but okay. This actually was nice.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed it too. You have a good day, and I'm here every single day. I have no life.
GG. Yeah, I'm gonna revalidate from this a little bit. Fuck my head hurts. I'm gonna smoke something. Ciao, ciao. Rustig aan.
Take care, man. Bye. Right, Zen.
Oh, I'd like to reply to the fifth one, right? Can you pop it up on screen?
Have you seen
on
it?
the stream?
Okay. Which one are you
Because
replying
the fifth
to?
one seems to be like a direct reply to my point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I never got vaccinated and I was fine. Yeah, this is. I'll just point this out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me see. 6.
Okay, so the last one. All right.
So your point is that by now we know that the vaccine works. That's your point, right?
Not only that, the idea is that we have proof, okay, that suggests that the vaccines were a good thing. And the idea was that when the medical professionals, the people in the labs who were creating these vaccines at the time, had a good reason to believe that they were, 1, not going to kill people, 2, not going to make the situation worse, and 3, going to actually progress the situation to a better environment. So they have good reasons to believe that it's a good thing. That's why they push for it to become a thing. And you also need to take into consideration the minor detail that this is a global pandemic and everybody's panicking and everybody needs a solution. So they were pushed, and what they achieved was nothing less than a fucking miracle. Okay, so
I agree with this.
Okay, that's the idea.
The main point I have is that at the time, especially the narrative was that we don't fully know the possible side effects and we haven't fully tested this vaccine, right? So
that's why I wrote this here. While that argument stood at the beginning of its implementation due to the fact that it was new and untested. It was true.
Yeah,
When
so
they
at the
released it,
time-
yeah.
At the time, my reasoning for not taking the vaccine, right,
Yeah.
was because I distrusted the lack of testing. And still now, I would say
Why
that
though?
in science, right,
Yeah.
we usually don't know all side effects of things. There's like this chemical they use in pants, right? How
Yeah.
do you call this?
The fucking powder, the powder shit, talcum
The
powder.
Teflon or whatever the fuck. And the shit that's in like old buildings in the walls. We didn't know that there was a fucking problem with this for ages at a time.
Yeah.
The same stands for all of these new scientific discoveries, right? So my reasoning is like by taking this risk like a possible side effect, and for my personal gain there's no extra thing because
Okay,
COVID
I get it.
doesn't
I get
do
it.
shit to me.
So the idea is the reason why we don't do that is because that same logic could be applied to every single medicine that exists. The idea that there could be unknown consequences that we just don't know about, and therefore I'm just better off not taking antibiotics. I'm just better off not doing chemotherapy. I'm just better off taking no type of medicine and not trusting the system and medical professionals who have done immense fucking analysis to understand where are we going to go if we implement this? They have a lot of fucking responsibility on their shoulders. And if people were dying left, right, and center, as many people claimed that it would happen, then they would be held accountable for that. And so they do immense fucking analysis before they release anything of substance to the world. So your argument is like, I don't trust medicine. That's your argument, essentially.
Yeah, in my personal life, right?
Yes.
If I have like a headache, I don't take the fucking pills to clear the
Yes,
headache.
exactly.
If I feel sick, I don't take pills.
So
I
you're-
only
yeah.
take the pills if I actually personally will be
Yes.
affected from not taking
Okay,
them. But
so-
for COVID,
Yeah.
for me, it's not a problem.
Wait, what do you mean it's not a problem?
Like I got COVID 3 times, and personally, I am healthy enough to not
Okay.
die from COVID, or
That's
it's just flu for me, basically.
That's fine, but this is number 5 argument. So we'll stay on this for now, okay? So again, your problem is not with the
May I add
vaccines.
something?
The problem is not with the vaccines, because had it been for the vaccines, all right, then we characterize those people as not in the right state of mind to be making the best decision for themselves. Even though at first sight, you'll see, yeah, obviously people are going to make good decisions for their own health. That's not always the case. And we see this time and time again. Example, we all know that smoking is bad. Nonetheless, plenty of people fucking do it. So therefore, people are not always in the right state of mind to be making decisions about their health. And
Yeah,
we know
I
that.
agree, I agree.
Yeah, so that's why.
You know I agree, because I'm fucking authoritarian as shit, right? I'm
exactly.
not this libertarian.
Yeah, okay. But so you understand my point is that, you
Yes.
know, we have medical professionals who had tested this shit, who had done this shit. And while it was not tested on a global level, while it had not been proven yet that the doctors who had developed this vaccine had good reasons to believe that this was the best we're going to get. And that just turned out to be fucking true, because we still haven't developed anything better. So, yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
So the reason why people didn't trust it and they had a mistrust for this thing was not based on the vaccine itself, because had they gone and done the research and seen the immense analysis that went into it and what the doctors were saying about it, they would have trusted it if that was their core reason for not taking the vaccine. But that wasn't the reason. The reason was a mistrust in the system. Yes.
Most anti-vaxxers don't do it because
Yes,
of
exactly.
this idea of like
Yes,
chips and stuff.
exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's
And
chips
there-
is crazy,
yeah.
but I would say it's kind of valid in a way to distrust the government, not in pills or like chips necessarily, but maybe just to think that they don't really give much of a fuck
That's
about your
fine.
health, right?
So those people are like, they believe in like very extreme views, whatever the fact. Sometimes those extreme views turn out true. I'm not telling you conspiracy theories are always wrong. I'm just telling you that when it comes to these types of things that require years of fucking experience and research to be able to be in a position where you develop such a kind of fucking medicine, you are the ones people should be trusting. But people weren't trusting them or looking at the research about the vaccine itself. They just had a underlying mistrust of the system. Therefore, governments had a good reason to believe that had we just leave it up to people, that people are going to, because of these ideologies that they have, they're just going to end up harming themselves, not only themselves, but the people around of them who choose to take the vaccines. Thus,
sure.
yes.
Do you agree with like my personal reasoning for not taking it?
Bruh, I don't even take Panadol. I didn't even take the vaccine. But I never had a reason to take the vaccine.
You're not debating whether or not it's like my reasoning for not doing it is valid. You're
Yes, that's fine.
debating
Yes, on a
making
global
it
scale.
mandatory,
Yes, like what does the government do in that situation? If we went by, oh, we're just going to leave it up to people and whatever they think, you're going to end up with big problems. That's why there has never been a time in history where we've had some really big fucking phenomenon or some really bad thing and the government hasn't stepped in to apply a logic, a reason to it and try to get people to do things that they know it's in their best interest, even though at first glance to the people it might seem like a bad idea. That's the government's job. They're literally responsible for the people that they govern, okay? So thus, you might not like their decisions. Like, I don't like my dad calling me fat when I'm 7 years old, but guess what? Thanks to him telling me that, I eventually lost weight, okay? It's the same fucking idea. That's literally one part of authority that people are going to have to grasp it with, and even I'm for, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't think they had bad intentions with making it mandatory.
Yes.
Whether or not it's actually
based
necessary, I don't know. But
yeah. Okay, well, it is necessary. You can find out by just looking at the data, by seeing what was the death rate before the implementations were applied, and then look up the death rates after the implementation was applied. There's a direct correlation there. We weren't doing this before, and death rates were soaring. We started implementing, and then over a period of time, those death rates started to subside. The level of people, the spread of the virus was getting less and less and less, if not anything else. So yes, we have the evidence, the proof, the data to suggest that the decisions we made were the right decisions.
But how do you know for sure whether or not that's mostly responsible to the lockdown, to the making it mandatory of the vaccine, to like the social isolation and like the rules with 2 meters and whatever, and the fucking hand sanitizing?
All right, so the idea is, you remember we had that conversation, we started talking about OnlyFans and Tinder and all of this shit, and how would you be able to go and analyze this? The same process can be said about this. So the idea is, you're never going to get to 100% certainty. The only thing that affected those death rates and the severity of the spread decreased due only to the fucking implementation. You're never going to get there because it's impossible. You would literally need to be there at the time, even though you're in the present, which requires time travel. It's impossible to do. That's why analysis will get you so far, only so far, but that's good enough, okay? The idea is, we look at the analysis, we rule out any other factors which could affect that result, and we just do that consecutively, ruling out things until we eventually end up with just a pure spreadsheet of, okay, these are the implementations, all right? What's the neutral number? Now, I don't know if that number has ever been released to the public, but as far as we know, okay, when you look at it, without all of those things being ruled out, you're able to see that in general, okay, we are not able to say that those implementations had no effect. We know that for sure. We also know
I
that
wouldn't say it's no effect.
Yeah, we also know that it's not
how influential.
We also know that it's not 10%. We also know that it's not 20 or 30 or 40%. What we know is that it's 50% or higher. Now, as far as I'm concerned,
everything or only the vaccine
of the death rates and the spread of the virus, yes, because the more people that got the vaccines, the more people that got
like 50. Only after the vaccine, or is it like the combination of the lockdown?
All of them. Yes, every implementation that was applied. If you want to look at the vaccines themselves, you're going to have to start from the time that the vaccines were developed and thrown out into the public, or people started, promoting and pushing to take the vaccine, blah, blah, blah. You look from that period onward and compare it to the time period prior. Now, again, the analysis is not going to be 100%, but we have more than enough good reasons to believe that the decisions we did at least helped. At least, if somebody's not willing to concede on whether this was like a globally ambitious goal that absolutely succeeded, and thank God, otherwise we would be, no, we can't ever do that. But what we can say is, look, we saw the death rates from the vaccines, we saw the spread of the virus, because again, once you are affected with coronavirus and you are in the bed, in the fucking hospital, the vaccine doesn't do anything. We know that the fucking masks, we know that all of these implementations, staying at home and taking fucking vitamins, those are the kinds of implementations. The vaccine was supposed to stop the spread. In other words, by stopping the spread, less people are going to get this, and thus will less likely end up in that bed in the hospital where we are left
so
with
how
a lot.
much percent do you think? I'm not talking about like
Honestly,
making the
what do I
vaccine, but I'm
personally
talking
think?
about like making it mandatory for the people who
Yes.
don't want it.
Yes, thank God they fucking did that. Otherwise, those people would have never taken it, and they would have affected everybody else and
Yeah.
themselves.
So how many percent do you think it's like influential for those people specifically?
Well, they had no decisions then. They wanted to go to work. They wanted to do all of those things. I can't give you a specific number because I don't have the data on that specific number that you're looking for. But yes, it did have an effect because if you can't go to work, if you can't earn money, if you can't go out shopping, you can't do anything, take your kids to school, anything you want to fucking do, you need to be vaccinated. You need to be wearing a mask. Otherwise, you have to stay at home. This was at least the case in a lot of countries in the world. Maybe not in yours, but in mine, it definitely fucking was. People had to pay money if they went out and they weren't vaccinated. So yes, we know that those people, even though they didn't, including myself, I didn't get vaccinated, meaning I didn't put all 3, 4 vaccines. I put 1 because I needed to travel and I was required to vaccinate. So even I, who had no reason whatsoever, except for the fact that I was traveling, had to get vaccinated. And it ended up being unnecessary in the airport. All they needed was a fucking COVID test.
Only take 1 though.
What did you say?
Why did he only take 1 vaccine?
Why only take? Because there's only 1 vaccine that's necessary for you to travel. The other
But
ones were
I
like.
understand, but if he believes that the vaccines are the solution to the pandemic, why wouldn't you take more?
I mean, that's I don't. Oh, he took the thing off again, and he left.
Isn't it a logical question to ask why you would only take 1 if you think this is improving
I
society?
mean,
basically?
I think his point is like that he does believe the vaccines help, but he personally doesn't give enough of a fuck to take it.
Oh, okay. I mean, my view on this is you'll never get the right numbers because
Fair enough, yeah.
because there's no interest.
Wait,
to get-
wait. He's coming back.
So
So, boss, do you think I engage with the fucking
yes,
question now?
yes. Good fucking
Thank you,
job.
okay.
Good fucking job. Like, I don't care if you agree or disagree. That's fine. We'll do that. But you engaged nonetheless. I gave an answer.
Yeah.
It's like you engaged. Yes, that's very respectable. That is like, yes, yeah. So good job.
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, for most of the conversation, we've been arguing 2 different things. Like you about if it should be mandatory, and me about like me personally not taking the
Yes.
vaccine. I guess.
Look, if you personally don't want to take the vaccine, that was my stance during the coronavirus. That's why I only took 1 vaccine because I needed to travel. From that moment on, I wasn't required to take any vaccines because I didn't leave my home. So I don't apply my own case scenario because it's very individual and it's very specific. If we're going to look at cases, we're going to have to look at things on a global scale. That's why I gave the argument for, oh, I didn't get coronavirus, I never got vaccinated, and I was fine. This is an insane argument when you're having a discussion, a debate relating to coronavirus, because it was something that affected billions of people around the world. Okay, you might say not the spread, but they were fucking locked down. They had to wear masks. So it did have consequences on them. So we have to include as many people as possible to be able to come to the best result, the most clean result possible. That's why my example doesn't fucking mean shit. So although I don't disagree with you and your logic what the fuck am I going to do with a vaccine? What the fuck I didn't care. I got COVID and all it did was like give me night sweats for like 3 nights and I was done with that shit. It was easy for me, but that's me. That's me. You can't apply that to every single person, especially when we had cases of young people dying who didn't smoke, who were healthy. They were rare, you can argue that, but nonetheless, they existed. So it is a good point of data for anybody saying that, oh yeah, it only affected opium. No, it fucking didn't. There were plenty of young people who died. There were plenty of mediocre people who died. There were also people who were old. There were also people who were sick and smokers and young people. Yes, it increased the chance that it will have fatal consequences on you.
Young people dying from COVID was extremely rare, right? Like,
Yeah, he said so. Oh my god, okay.
Like
He's sleeping again.
He's making it sound like there's very little difference between young people.
I'll be right back, one sec.
Okay. But he's making it sound like there's a very little difference. There was a huge difference.
Yeah, I think that those young people dying weren't like random cases, but they were those young people had like problems with their
Pre-existing
immune
conditions,
system.
yeah. But
Yeah.
nowadays, more people, more young people die suddenly, nah? That's also true. Where did that come from? And here's the question. If you're going to evaluate the vaccinations, I would take, because this is the consequence, right? If these young people are dying for whatever reason, I'm not saying that the vaccine is poisonous, though I do believe that, but let's say we don't know, okay? It might be because the healthcare system was overwhelmed or whatever, because the entire country shut down. Maybe there's another explanation, right? Okay, but that is another cost of the solution of shutting down the country. And it cannot just be ignored. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
how could you
I mean, we
measure?
should talk about it, yeah, but I think that right now he wants to like discuss those points on screen, and he will be pretty annoyed if you add any like extra topics, I guess.
Let me bring up the stream again to see which one is the fifth.
He closed it, but it was the two main points we're talking about now is whether or not like this vaccine what was it again?
Oh yeah, because
Yeah, if your personal
it's not tested.
experience
Yeah,
is
yeah. This was the fifth one. Which
matters. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, the
no,
fifth one, but for me it's like the thing I thought about the media is like in the media, the message was like being brought across as if COVID is like the same as the Black Death, and if you get
yes,
COVID, you have like a 100% guaranteed death. Like as if I would get COVID, I might as well just stab myself because I'm gonna die anyways. Like as if it's this bad.
yeah.
But in reality, what we got is like a fucking light ass, under average like severity flu that kills like unhealthy people. The main
He would
problem is like the spreading, not the severity of the illness, right?
he would say, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal because everybody got vaccinated. But because I talked with him 2 weeks
I
ago
mean,
about
I
this.
got COVID personally before getting vaccinated, and if it was the same severity as the Black Death or any other severe fucking illnesses like cancer or whatever,
Yeah, but
I would be
he would
fucked
say
if I got cancer 3 times in a row. So,
this is your personal experience. That's it.
yeah, I guess.
Because he also, I mean, I didn't get COVID for how long was COVID even? 4 years now.
Yeah, like, be honest, like, the message of the media was that COVID was like
The
cancer, that it would literally
the worst thing that you
fucking
could
give
get,
the
yeah.
whole world cancer.
And I last time I even mentioned this. The solution that the media proposed was as if when you get vaccinated, you definitely don't like you're immune now. That was
Yeah, and
also
that
the
isn't
message.
true either.
And I said it is very possible because we were also talking about this measurement, and I said it's very possible that this mentality that people when they would get vaccinated now they think now I can't get COVID anymore. No, I'm gonna continue partying because I wanted to. That it's actually going to do the opposite of helping because if this person wouldn't get vaccinated, he would constantly think if I go party, I'm going to die. But once they get vaccinated, because the media keeps telling you, oh, if you get vaccinated, you're good, then he's gonna go party as soon as he gets vaccinated. So it might have the
Yeah.
opposite effect. And of course, you can't measure that. How, like, I don't know how you would measure that exactly, what's happening in people's minds. That's why it's very difficult to say, because you don't have anything to compare it to other than countries that didn't lock down. How did those countries do? They should have done much worse, right?
Yeah, they were mostly. I mean, we as the West also have this issue that we are unhealthy as shit. Like, we're fat as fuck and eat chemicals, so we are literally probably more vulnerable than a fucking whole load of second and third world countries, honestly.
Yeah, it's possible. Also, we're
Yeah.
more closely packed together.
Yeah,
And
like,
we don't see the sunlight that much. I know that I'm very white.
yeah, yeah. So I have a question, right? There's this inappropriate innuendo guy in the chat, right? He said we were, let's see, if these are the average people in Europe, is create that Europe is creating, then we are fucked. Why? Answer it.
Are you asking me why he said that?
No, the guy in chat, the guy in chat.
Okay.
Yo, you're back. Hey, boss, you there? Or?
Shit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm here. What's up?
So the second thing I'd like to reply to is like the thing about the media, right? I
Yeah.
think it's your fourth point. Can you like bring up the thing again, or?
Yeah. Because I'm keeping this for future. Like I'm keeping this. I'm building my arguments for any fucking crazy psychopath who's with
Okay,
unvaccinated, whatever.
I never got
Good
vaccinated
idea.
and I was fine, so therefore COVID was insignificant.
Yeah,
You
that's
do
your
realize using
that's your
personal
argument. Yeah.
experiences is invalid when talking. Yeah.
Okay.
My point with this was that the message, at
Yeah.
least I got from the media, is that COVID was this contagious shit that would like basically, if you got it, it would be like cancer. You would guaranteed like fall on the ground in a day. But in reality, right?
Yeah.
Most people, most normal people, if they got COVID, they would be fine. I think that the message I at least personally got from the media was like exaggerated to the point where they low-key like showed it as if it's the Black Death or actual cancer you're getting. Well, it's not. It's just that's my point, I guess.
Okay. Right. So this argument hinges on the idea that because you got it, okay, and you were fine, thus anybody else who got it would also be fine, and that's why it's not anything significant.
No, that's not really my point. I'm
No?
saying if it was that severe as like the Black Death or cancer,
Yeah.
wouldn't you think that it's really fucking rare for me to get it 3 to 4 times in a row and be fine?
Okay. So right.
If
We
you
have
got cancer 4 times, you would be fucked,
right. We
right?
have to understand that first of all, the reason why COVID was dangerous was because it spread very fast.
Yeah, I
That was
agree.
the main problem of coronavirus. Okay, the idea that it spreads like a motherfucker. In fact, we have never experienced something that spreads so bad. You can argue the Black Plague, but when the Black Plague was spreading, we didn't have antibiotics, we didn't have any medicine, so there's no way to understand whether the spread was faster or less fast compared to COVID. So as far as we are concerned, to this day, if you look at the data, COVID posed a very serious threat to the world. Now you can argue, all right, it spreads very fast, but which would be against the argument. So again, the reason why the media overblew the situation, because I don't disagree with you, but that is like, to what degree is the right question to ask? Because it's like, if this is something that spreads so fucking fast, faster than like SARS itself, and SARS like fucking like infected so many fucking people in China in the early 2000s or whatever. So the idea was that this thing spreads so fast, and the media is actually doing a good thing, in my argument at least, by overblowing it. If they are overblowing it, my real question is how much? Because if it's like, yeah, they should have like been 10% less deadly, then I'll probably agree with that. If you're now saying that it's like 50% they were like totally over exaggerating, I'm going to disagree with that, because while it might not have been deadly to every single person that got it, there were a number of human beings, and it was very fucking random, meaning you had people who were young, healthy, didn't smoke, didn't have any reason to die from coronavirus, yet they died from it. You had old people dying from it. You had smokers dying from it. You had people with illnesses dying from it. And you had people without illnesses. So it was random. It was like, how the fuck do you treat this? Okay. So the idea is, we are going to overblow this to the extent we're going to lock everybody down, make sure that everybody is totally on the same page, that if we do not act on this, then this could pose a real threat to fucking humanity. And it did, at least until the implementations were applied. So that's why I wouldn't agree with that. To me, it seems irrelevant that while it didn't affect me or you, that somehow we can come to the conclusion that it was like not comparable. You can't compare it to cancer because, well, cancer is not contagious, first of all. The Black Plague is a bad comparison. So we don't really have a good comparison. Maybe SARS. If you want to compare it to SARS, then fine, you can go and do that. It won't be in your favor, though. Because when SARS got released, like, you had the fucking military going out and shooting people. So, yes.
Compare it to the common flu.
I mean, I would say the issue with COVID is that it's contagious, not that it's like high in severity, I guess. I would say that severity-wise, it's maybe a bit worse than the common flu, but spreading-wise, it's hundreds times worse than the common flu. It's like this. The main issue is that it spreads to a lot of people, which will cause like a lot of deaths. Not that the reason the deaths are coming is because it's this extreme, horrible sickness. That's my point, I guess. When I watch the media, the message it showed me is that it's like a contagious, spreadable form of cancer, and if you get it, then might as well shoot yourself in the face, guaranteed. Like everyone will fucking die. Don't you think that the majority of people who don't have a health issue, 99% of people who don't have some kind of underlying health issue would be fine with COVID?
I wouldn't argue that it's 99%. First of all, because that's a very extreme position. That's like basically saying that you're totally going to be fine unless you belong to this 1% of people. I don't.
Almost. There's a really small chance.
I don't
of
have the
healthy
numbers.
person
Do you
dying
have the
from
numbers
COVID.
for that back that claim up?
I mean, I can find this video from you, but I've seen this video of someone like going through the
I mean, like
death
medical
counts and
data,
comparing
Xen.
like the ages and illnesses those people
Right,
had.
Xen, I'm going to need an analysis from medical professionals that have observed it for what it is and have said to you that 99% of people, or I will even accept 90%. I won't even poke at you if it's 90%. Even though 99 is a very big difference to 90, I will even grant you that 90%. Nonetheless, I don't think that that's what the data is going to suggest. So I'm betting on the idea that it's not, in fact, 99% are going to be fine, because you're giving me an easy way to win this argument, because it's very rare that you have some, even the common flu probably isn't like at 99% you're going to be fine. Even the, huh?
It is.
Okay.
Common flu is at 99 because 1% death rate, right?
I would think the common flu, like dying from the common flu, would be like a 0 point and then 10 zeros and then 1 1.
Okay.
No,
Like
it's
it's
1%.
rare.
My
right?
argument
It's
to you
1%.
is that before you decide to hold a firm ground on this, okay? And before you decide and to convince yourself that this is definitely the way it is, I definitely suggest that you find some data to prove otherwise, because it's very easy to prove you wrong when your stance is as extreme as 99%. Okay, it's very easy. I'm just saying the chances that you're right are like 1%. That's how you're trying, because you're 99. You're like at the above. You're not even giving yourself some wiggle room. So my advice to you would be, hold a firm ground on something, I don't fucking know, like 60%, 70%. It's still high. That's still high. That's still
60%.
like, I'm just saying to you, the further down you go, the more chances there are for you to be right. Okay, I want you to be right.
You, like, personally, do you think like 1 in 10 healthy people without a vaccine who get COVID will die?
Okay, does it matter what I think personally, first of all? Is that what you care about, or do you care about the facts?
I care about the facts, but I'm pretty sure that if we both agree that it's ridiculous to say that most people will die from COVID, then we shouldn't have to like even search if it's true.
So if a guy from Cyprus, okay, who worked on fucking boats, was a barman throughout his life, has decided to become a streamer and debate various topics, and a guy from the Netherlands who's into Islam, and all of this stuff, I'm not pointing that out as a negative. I'm just clearly stating that, and you're 19 years old, like you've barely finished school, that somehow me and you agreeing that it wasn't that severe is somehow a good argument. Do you feel like that's a good thing? If me and you agree about it, then we've got like, do you feel like we have good ground to stand on, that we can go into a debate and be like, yeah, me and Xen think that it wasn't a bad thing? Do you feel like that's a good thing? No, it's not, is it?
Not. I think that in a debate between us, if we both don't believe in unicorns, we shouldn't have to Google whether or not unicorns exist, right?
Okay, so you're arguing. Okay, all right. So I'm going to point this out. All right, we're talking about a pandemic that happened. Right, it's not fictional. Right, it really occurred. People did die from it. It did spread like fucking mad. There were global consequences because of it. You feel like comparing that and agreeing on that versus agreeing on whether unicorns exist is analogous?
I mean,
think of it. Pay attention to that detail. Pay attention to that. Do you feel like that's analogous?
If half of the healthy people with COVID will die, then I think it's just as fucking ridiculous as saying unicorns exist, honestly. half of the people with COVID who are healthy
Okay,
dying,
what-
like without a vaccine,
what
sounds
is your
unrealistic.
best number? So if we say 99 is like you're limiting yourself to like 1% being right, and 60% is too much for you, or 50% is too much for you, where is like the point where you feel like, okay, if this is true, I'm still okay, and that still gives me enough ground to stand.
95, I guess.
95, that's the best you can do.
Yeah, I even think 99 is high. I would think 1 in 1,000 people who are healthy with COVID would die. That's more realistic.
Okay,
I would say
1 in
99.9 is
1,000.
more
If we
realistic.
do the maths, 1 in
He's talking
1,000.
about healthy people, though.
All right, we're talking about 1 in 1,000. All right, when you multiply
Healthy,
that,
unvaccinated.
okay,
yes.
when you multiply that by 9 billion, what do you think 1 in every 1,000 is when you're talking about 9 billion people? Do you want to find out?
It's a lot, yeah.
Do you want to find out how high of a percentage that is?
I will calculate right now.
Well, that's 99.9, right?
How many zeros is a billion?
1,000 is 3 zeros.
You've just got to
Billion, how many
divide
zeros?
9 billion by 1,000 and it will give you the number.
Yeah, how many zeros is a billion?
It's 9, I think, yeah.
Okay. That's 900,000.
Yeah.
So what's 900,000 to 9 billion? Well,
That is
99.9.
wait, why am I
Or,
getting confused about this?
0.1, right?
Wait, why is my maths gone out the fucking window?
1 in 100 is 1%. Then 1
Well,
in
you said
1,000 is
9 billion,
0.1.
you'd say 900 million, you'd say 90 million is 1%. So is 90 million, what is that? 1 in every 100?
No.
9
Boss. 1 in 100 is 1%.
Okay,
right?
so you're saying that 90 million people would be affected from it. Okay, so is that
9
1%?
million.
Is that 1%? I don't know.
It's 0.1. Listen, boss.
0.1%.
Listen. 1 in 100 is 1%, right?
Yeah, I think
Right?
he's right. It's 0.1%.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0.1.
So your
I think so.
argument is
I think so.
0.1%.
Yeah, I'm saying I would say probably less, but that's like high already.
Okay. Do you understand that, like, going into debate, your goal is winning, right?
Yes.
This is how it works, all right? So while I might believe, okay, that I don't fucking know, abortion should. I'm just giving you a random example, all right? While I believe abortion should be totally illegal, okay, which is a really hot, contentious topic that people argue about and debate about. When I walk into a debate, it doesn't suit my interest to stand on that, okay? Even though that might be my personal belief, because when I step into a debate, my goal is not to prove that I'm right, it's to win the debate, okay? And the way I win a debate is by going to a position where I am very comfortable standing and disagreeing on, okay? That's the idea of a debate. It's not about proving.
I'm comfortable saying 0.1% is realistic, yeah.
Okay, so you've gone even further than like 99%. Now it's like 99.9%. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Healthy people, though.
At the top of my head, if you're asking for my personal opinion, I think the number is probably somewhere like
I mean, I think you should Google how many people
30 to
who get
40.
the common
No,
flu die.
that's not how you're going to do it. And the reason that's not how you're going to do it is because, again, you're factoring the people who died after, also including after the implementations were made, which you don't get to do. The whole argument stems from this is not actually a dangerous thing. We've totally overblown it.
No.
Yeah.
You're not getting my point.
Okay.
I'm saying out of how many people who we know have COVID, how many unvaccinated people die from it? So, like, let's say there's 1 million unvaccinated people who have COVID. How many of them die?
Let's think about it. Do you get to hold that position, first of all? Do you feel like
Why
you
not?
get to hold that position? Well, let's think about it. All right. So you guys are not just against the vaccine. You guys are also against the implementations that were put in place, right?
Of what? Can you
The
repeat it?
implementations that were put in place. Meaning,
No, I would say the implementations and the vaccine were a good choice, but it's for those few vulnerable people. We're kind of sacrificing the mass for these vulnerable people. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a lie how exaggerated it was on the media, as if normal people like me would be even remotely close to being slightly affected by fucking
Okay.
COVID.
All right, I'll give you my stance. And my personal stance, and I'm ready to be totally wrong about this, but it's definitely not 99. It's not even 90%. I would be comfortable saying that 60 to 70% of people would be fine, even if they got COVID.
But that means
That means that 30 to 40% would have.
Talking specifically about healthy people, right, who aren't vaccinated. So no old people, normal like.
Wait, why
20-year-old
not
people
no
in
old
health.
people? Wait a minute. Why not no old people?
Because
I was
old
talking about
people,
healthy people all the
the
time.
reason they're dying is because they have health issues and a weakened immune system because they're old. I'm talking about like normal healthy people who can withstand sickness.
Are
because
those the
old
only
people
people
are
that?
also vulnerable for
Okay.
the common flu?
Are those the only people that exist on the planet?
No, of course
We
not.
also have old people.
No, I'm saying that yes, we also have.
Wait a
old
minute.
people.
Wait a
The
minute. Let's
media
understand
told
each
us
other.
that me as well is affected, so we should look at how many versions of me would die from
But the
it, I
media
guess.
was very clear that if you are old and you are sick, it's just going to increase the effects of it. Correct?
I mean,
I wouldn't say that.
that's accurate, I guess, but I would say that with like a very small margin, it's almost like you can't even die from it if you aren't old or aren't sick or aren't
Exactly.
an
The only
infant.
way you're going to compare this, all right, make a fair comparison, is to say that what percentage of people unvaccinated, young, old, sick, not sick, would die from COVID? That's the only way you can look at this and compare it in a fair way. Because if you're just going to say a specific amount of people, because we didn't just care about a specific amount of people. We cared about old people too. We cared about young people. So we have to include them in the analysis. So the real question we should be asking is, what percentage of people, all types of people from all over the world, would have dire consequences or even fatal consequences from COVID had they caught it and they were unvaccinated?
I'm kind of specifically arguing for like the
Unvaccinated.
non-vulnerable people, I guess.
Wait, you can't do that though, because again, the whole reason why a vaccine was developed, why the implementations were made, was not because we want to take care of just young people and healthy people.
I get it.
So we need to
my
include
point is,
them.
Do you agree with me that non-vulnerable people like me aren't like at risk at all?
Thus, I too didn't take all the vaccines. Again, you're talking about a personal issue, but it's personal. What we are doing here, we are debating about a global issue that affected the whole world. So what I did and what you did, to me, is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's insignificant. And as far as I'm concerned, if you were young and you were healthy and you decided not to take a vaccine, then you were doing something risky. Now, I didn't because, again, I'm locked in my house. The chances of me getting COVID was severely decreased. If I had to go out to work like everybody else, if I had to go out shopping every day, if I had to do all of these things that everybody else does in the world, then I would have got vaccinated. That's my argument, even though I'm young and healthy, okay?
Why though? Why?
Because, well, again, we're talking about me personally. I smoke and I'm not exactly thin or fit. I'm fat. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not exactly the best case scenario. Even though when I did get COVID, it had like kind of uncomfortable things, but nothing really significant. You understand it? So the idea is when we're having a debate about this, it's not good to point those things out because me and you are not the only types of people in the world. And the whole reason why these implementations were made, why the vaccines were developed the way they were and in the speed that they were, which is a miracle.
We agree then, right? That it's kind of sacrificing like people like me would be getting the vaccine only for other people not to get it, right?
In the best favor of the general public. Because because then we need to go and look at, okay? The reason why I don't agree with that is because no, I'm perfectly fine sacrificing my own freedom. If it means that fucking most of the people in the world, because we're not the majority, by the way, 20 to 30 years old is not the majority of the world. We have fucking 0 to 10. We have 30 to 80. The chances that we are the best chance of the fucking world and somehow we have to prioritize our values over everybody else seems ridiculous to me. That's why I can't agree with that statement. Now, again, on a personal level, did you decide, Zen, because you're young, you're healthy, you don't smoke, you don't do this, you don't do that, to not take the vaccine? I'm telling you, there are risks to doing that, meaning you could still catch COVID and it could still give you fucking pneumonia, all right, something like that, okay? Now,
would you agree that the chances of like
are
COVID
low?
affecting me in a bad way are similar to like the common flu? Me.
I don't get what this proves. I'll engage and I'll answer the question. The question is, you'll probably be fine. The same thing that I said to myself. The only difference is this doesn't do anything good for this argument because it makes COVID seem like a really insignificant thing. The reason why you won't do this is because, again, we are a minority when it comes to the global population, okay? Most people, again, are not between the ages of 20 to 30, okay?
Do you think so?
Well, I would be very comfortable saying, I would
30?
be very, no, we're not saying below, we're saying young adults who don't smoke and don't have any health issues. We're not talking about children. Remember, COVID had severe effects on children because they're weak. Their immunity hasn't developed yet. So children and old people were the most vulnerable to the COVID. So the idea was that if you are, the reason why it's not good to look at this argument unless it's just like a stupid little thing like, yeah, I'm fine, bro. I'm not even taking the vaccine. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, because we are like the most successful at tackling COVID. Now, yes, but
for the argument,
but
most people are between 14 and 30 with like only like this very small amount of the percent being above 30.
What are the percentages?
Where
are you looking at then?
Let me give you this site. IDs, well, it's in Welcome. Yeah.
Global population by age.
Do you really think that children were vulnerable to COVID?
Yeah, I don't think children are. Maybe like infants who were born too early or shit like this, but not like average.
All right, so the stat I'm getting is 24.7% is aged under 15 years old. So that doesn't include us, all right? And that doesn't include the ones who are strong, okay?
I mean, don't you think like an 8-year-old would handle COVID fine?
No, obviously fucking not. No, the whole idea of why we, at the age of 20 to 30, are the least vulnerable because that's your peak years. That's when your body has fully developed. You have a fully functional immunity system. All your organs are the maximum size they will ever be in. They are the best shape they will ever be in. Your body is at its peak prime. Hence why footballers, all people who attend sports, they achieve their peak years within that year span, between 20 to 30. That's like, I don't even know anybody in this world who would argue against that. Seems incentive to me. Okay, so 24% of the global population is age under 15, so that's not them. 65.2% is age 15 to 64. Okay, so that doesn't include us either. So it's 65%. What percentage of that 65%?
15 to what?
15 to 64. That's very old, okay? And it's saying that 10% is age 65 and over. So if we just take the bottom and the top averages, you're talking about 34.8% of the population, okay? If we just take under...
I don't think the bottom half is like... I think a fucking newborn child getting COVID...
Okay, I think that's an insane claim, all right? And the reason I say it's an insane claim is because...
find out the research, I guess.
All right. The whole idea of why we go through puberty is for our bodies to advance and, fully develop and all of this thing. The idea is you're gonna reach your peak capabilities. The prime age is between 20 to 30 years of age.
Probably I agree.
Okay, if you agree with that, then the idea is somebody who's 20 to 30 years old is much likely going to survive getting COVID than somebody who is aged 15 to younger. Okay, it's a very simple statement. That's all I'm saying, and I don't really think I should be argued on about that, but nonetheless. All right, so the median age of the world's population is estimated to be 31 years in 2020 and is expected to rise to 37.9 years by 2050. Yikes. All right.
I'm going from memory, but when you said that children were affected, I remember that we were being told the children have to vaccinate so they protect the teachers because the teachers are old. It was never the children have to vaccinate for their own sake. right?
Okay, so I don't know what this is saying about 10 to 20 to 30. I'm not finding anything about 20 to 30.
So for children, the symptoms of COVID are fever, coughing, chest pain,
what is the
loss of taste,
what is-
sore throat.
what is the number one thing that causes death to children? Do you know?
I think it's
Okay, I'll just tell
like
you.
these
It's
fucking
high.
African countries
No,
with like shit hygiene where they die from like
okay.
illnesses.
Apart from external forces, we're talking about internal diseases. This is the structure of your body. It's a high fever.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
it's
a
a high
mix of
fever.
birth
Yes.
defects and like hygiene
Okay,
disease
then
shit.
outside of external rare conditions, okay, we're talking about something that could affect your body from within. All right, dying because you don't have
You want me
food.
to say COVID?
No. Dying because of no food is apart from this topic because that's happening anyway. It's not involved in this. We're
Yeah.
talking about COVID. So the first thing you said was high fever. The number one reason why children die is high fever. So there you go. There's your answer. Why children would be affected by it. That doesn't mean that adults are also not affected, but they have ways to deal with it. Their body can develop an immunity, attack the system, the thing that is poisoning you
So
or
can
is
you
problematic.
give like a percentage of what you think is true for the kids? How many of them die?
I think they are just as likely, maybe a little bit less than old people, but it's so
Yeah.
That's
slightly.
crazy. That's bizarre. How can you say that?
I think they're like way less likely than the old people.
The children were during the entire, not just children, but teenagers, that they're the least vulnerable, and the old people were the most vulnerable. How can you say that they're kind of the same?
All right, so 19, I don't know. It's not giving me any numbers specifically for 20 to 30 years of age. It doesn't say that.
Also, I
Unfortunately.
got COVID around. How old was I?
Average
me
life
search.
expectancy by country in years. Okay, this is the life expectancy. Yeah, it's not giving me a very in-depth analysis of this. Okay, let's see. What percentage of the global
beginning of COVID.
global
I remember that
population?
nobody in my street died, for example.
I was like
Before that.
13 when I first got COVID, I think.
Population. What percentage of the global population
Yeah.
is 20 to
I got COVID at 13.
25%. Okay, this is
You got
now
lucky.
I guess saying the same shit. All right, here we go.
Can you even hear me?
Proportion of a selected age groups, world population,
he,
and in
muted you.
regions in 2023. Proportion of selected age groups. No, I can hear you. I'm just choosing not to answer because these fucking statements suck. Anyway,
Right.
world population and in regions in
I have
2023.
that for you. Look at the screenshot. Look at the screenshot.
Hey, I don't know. It's not giving me a fucking answer here, man. It's not
I
giving
have it. I have it. Look at the screenshot.
Okay.
So the percentage of a 30-year-old dying from COVID is the same as a 10-year-old.
Okay. Then
It starts to rise at 40.
my argument from the start, right? It's very simple. Okay. The argument that I'm making is that people between the age of 20 to 30 years of age are at their prime years, meaning their body is totally full developed and they have the highest chances of not having severe side effects from coronavirus, meaning that's due to their body being in the best state that it will ever be throughout their entire life. Neither before 20. Okay, if you want to be pedantic and you're including also 18-year-olds into this equation and somehow you're including them under 20, then that's weird to me that you would do that. The idea is once you're an adult, you have the prime body, okay? Those first couple of years until the age of 30, if you want to say 18 to 30, fine, you can go ahead and do that because theoretically you are an adult. You're at the prime years of your existence and thus you have the highest chances of not showing severe side effects of coronavirus.
Yeah, I agree,
Okay, so if we agree with that, wait a minute, wait, let me get to my point. So if we agree on that statement, then anything outside of that gives you higher chances of having side effects. Do we agree on that statement?
I mean, yes. But
Okay,
my
yeah, because
point is
it's
more that,
logical.
like,
It's logical.
I think the ages before 10 are maybe like a percentage more likely than the fucking 20-year-olds, while the fucking the old ass like 80-year-old people are 14.8% more likely.
Right, Zen. So the
So it's a
argument,
massive
the argument
difference.
I'm making, bro, is very simple. Okay. So the idea is between the ages of 20 to 30, we're in our prime years. Thus, we have the highest chances of not having side effects or severe side effects from coronavirus. Thus, we are in the minority of groups in the world. And anything outside of 20 to 30, if you want to put it 18 to 30, you can do that. That's fine by me. Anything outside, so younger than 18 and older than 30, the older you are, the more increased chances of having more side effects. And the younger you are from 18 and under, the higher chances also. So the younger you go, the higher the chances. Okay. So this is how it works. So you go from 17, let's say that 20 to 30 or 18 to 30 is like 99%. I'm using your example, okay? This is just say 99% if you're between the ages of 18 to 30.
Are you watching my screen share or what?
1 second, bro. I've already seen your screen share, okay? I want you to engage with what I'm saying. Please listen to me, okay?
Yes.
So the idea is that every age you drop from 18 and go under, those chances decrease, meaning you go from 18 to 17, you might be at 99% now. You're still at 99%. It's fine. You're probably going to be fine. Go to 16, you're now 97%. Go to 15, you're now at 95%. Go to and follow the path down. The lower you go, the higher the chances that you're going to have severe consequences. And the same applies to above 30. I don't even know why I'm getting debated on this. This seems like pretty fucking common sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, I agree with you, but I think that the amount that it drops from getting younger is like so insignificant. We might as well.
Okay, I will disagree with that.
From getting older, it is.
I will disagree with that, and my premise for disagreeing with that is because babies. All right, so now we're going to go straight down to 1 year of age, okay, and even months. All right, the number one prime risk, okay, for babies dying is high fever, which is something that comes with coronavirus, okay?
Yeah, but
wait. No. You need to please listen to me. Please listen to me. Please listen to me. High fever is not the number one primary reason for people dying between 18 to 30 years of age, okay? It's usually things like car crashes, okay? So if we're a baby, we are very, very affected by high fevers. Even the slightest difference in our temperature, okay, will affect our bodies extremely because our immunity is not yet built up. Now follow that path upwards and eventually you reach 2, 3, 4, 5, and it gets better. It gets stronger, your immunity, stronger, because you're getting diseases, your body's battling them, it's creating immunities, it's creating more white cells, blah, blah, blah. Follow that path all the way to 10, 15. It's fine. That increases. I'm not telling you that there's a huge difference between 18 and 17. I'm not telling you there's a huge difference between 18 and 15. My argument is that the more you go down, the higher the effects of coronavirus severely affect your body. And that's just a fact.
I agree with that. But what we disagree with is like whether or not the difference between 1 and 18 is as bad as 18 and 80.
Okay, I would argue with you. It's even worse. It's even worse. And like multiply it by 10 times because you've just given me an easy way out, which is 1 and 18. 1 year old. 1 year old. Have you ever heard of a mother or a father not worrying about the temperature of their child?
I mean, I've seen like children who were sick, right? It's not like children are constantly
We're
dying
talking about 1 year old. We're talking about 1 year old.
Yeah, 1 year old children who get sick aren't like doomed to fucking die.
Okay.
It's not like most children who get sick die or some shit.
Then the reason why we panic and run to the hospital with a baby that has a high fever is because they have an
because it's more likely to die, yes.
Yes,
that
meaning
doesn't mean that there's a significant more chance than with a fucking 18.
It does, because we don't run to the hospital with the first slight of change in our temperature.
I mean, don't you think that's mostly because of like these concerned ass
No, it is because it is a baby. It hasn't developed its immunities. Guys, we seriously can't be getting into these kinds of debates. Like, you're severely challenging mine, yours, and everybody else's intelligence by doing this. It's insane. This is the kind of shit that drives me crazy. It's like there's like good arguments to have in the world. This is not one of them. You can't seriously be arguing that babies' immunity is on par with a fully functional, adaptive. Well, please stop arguing about it because it's severely challenging my intelligence and yours. It's insane that we're even having this conversation.
This is like let's say 2 years old to fucking what was it again? 40, right? This is a child, right? This is 1 years old, and this is 80. Do you agree with this or not?
What am I seeing? No, Xen, no. And the reason I say is because even when grandpas and grandmas get a high fever, our first instinct is not to run to the hospital because they don't suffer a consequential crisis in their lives and potentially die from a high fever. I'm saying a baby, the smallest change in their temperature affects their entire body because they have no white blood cells. And if they have any, okay, that's a false statement. They do have white cells. They're just not developed yet. They haven't reached their maximum amount in their body that can go around and kill viruses. They don't have a functional fucking internal system. They're a baby. Okay? So the line actually looks the opposite way around. It goes like that. Okay? But it starts up here. If you're a newborn baby, number one thing that you need to be aware of, okay, is a high fever. Number one. When you're old, number one thing you need to be worried about is your heart. That's why we know, actually, it's babies that are the most at risk at this. When you get to 2 years old, that goes down significantly. 3 years old, significantly down. Nonetheless, it's still high. When you get to 18 years old, you're at the lowest level. We can't be arguing about this. We can't be arguing.
I don't know everything either. I'll look into it.
It's not about, okay, this is like, if you had a little brother, okay, if you had a little brother or a little sister ever in your life, or a little cousin that you spent time around of, and their parents like took care of them, and they were like just like genuinely good parents, concerned for their child, whatever, not obsessed or panicky or whatever, you would know this. It's like, it's a very obvious thing. Like the whole reason why we have fucking incubators and we handle babies like they're this fragile piece of glass is because they are a fragile piece of glass. Okay? It's not because of people are fucking worried. There's an argument for kids that are 8 years old that should be playing outside instead of playing games because, oh no, they could scratch their knee. I get that argument, but this is not what we are talking about. We're talking about high fever. It's insane that we are even having this conversation. But you asked it, so I'm answering it. I hope that with the first like limited explanation of it, that we would move past this. Like, it's just, yes, I would die on that hill. Like literally, you can't. Nobody can be serious when they're having this conversation. So
I mean, sure, I'll research it more. But for what I have seen, it seems like the old ass people die more from COVID than kids. Maybe also because they're more socially like isolated.
What I'm hinging my argument on is the high fever. Okay, and I've made this very clear to you. The whole reason why COVID is a problem for babies and young children is because of the high fever specifically. It's not about the other side effects that affect mostly old people. The thing that affects old people is actually their breathing and incapability of breathing, getting enough oxygen to their heart. That's what affects the old people. So it's not the high fever aspect.
Not the thing that I know.
Yes, because if you have a fully functioning immunity, you can take medicine. That's why we don't give the same medicine to adults as we do to young children, because their body couldn't be able to handle it. And if it did, it would develop an anti-fucking immunity where it would be like, I wasn't able to fight off basic fucking diseases, and that's why I am useless, and that's why I'm not even going to develop myself. That's why we don't give babies and young children good medicine, antibiotics, things like that.
I know.
So that's why. This is where this reasoning comes from.
Okay, I'll research it,
Yeah, sure, if you want.
I mean, what I don't understand is, if what he's saying is true, why was on that graph that you showed, Xen, not a category for 0 and 10? Because the graph that you drew, that's how I also understand it. The baby should be more at risk, so more death should be at the beginning. Why did they start at 10 and later?
No, the whole reason why. Okay, I don't know. I can't. It's just like so stupid. I can't even hold myself to control myself to not respond. Like I'm just gonna. Yeah. That's how I think, guys. Think. It's okay. Think about it. I know you guys are like all scared of fucking COVID, paranoia, vaccines. Ooh. I know. It's fine. You're going to be fine. It's okay.
I mean, you didn't take it either yourself. What do you mean?
Yeah, I was going to ask that as well, yeah.
But he explained why, but I don't think the reasoning for me not taking it and him not taking it is different.
I assume that he understands that there is a risk of taking the vaccine.
Which totally is bad.
But at the same time, he's gonna try to convince himself the risk is so small that I only need one. But if the risk is so small, why wouldn't you take 3 if it helps everybody else?
We're getting double teamed by Easy Game and yeah, I know. All right, guys. I'm going out of Discord. I'm gonna fucking go and do a bit more streaming. Focus on the chat. You do you. All right.
Why don't you want to engage?
Not interested, mate. Really not interested. I'll deal with Xen. We can talk with Xen. That's fine. Already talked about this. Xen knows my opinion. That's all I need to say. And I'm done with. Yeah. I can't. Imagine being your response to fucking me blowing my fucking lid and going ape shit and having to prove you that you are bad faith and all of this fucking shit about how you're going to change. And then somehow your actions that you've take thereafter is to question me consequently all the time, trying to fucking enrage me. That's your answer, right? So I'm supposed to see that as good faith, right? Yeah, good job. Keep it up. The good questions are too good. Yeah, man. Those good questions. I mean, nobody else can pose them like you do. Wonder why. My people are whoever want to be my people. Of course not you, Xen. Why would I even talk about you? I don't feel like we've had a discussion where you piss me off. You piss me off sometimes, but not to the extent that Easy Game does. Easy Game is like vermin to me. I'll just make myself clear. It's vermin. It's vile. It's insane. Like I despise him with every fiber of my being. I just despise you. You smell. You're rotten. I can't deal with people like that. I can't. It's disgusting. Right. Enough of that.